just a few housekeeping items before we go to agenda item number 2, presentation. If you'll please silence your cell phones. And then also we are live streaming our meetings now. So if you either are a presenter or you have a comment that you'd like to share with the council and with the other members of our chambers this evening, if you'll go to the podium and just state your name and your city that you live in, like Leon Valley or Bernie or City of San Antonio. And then citizens to be heard, you have 5 minutes to speak, and during the particular agenda items, we ask for citizen input. You have up to 3 minutes. So just a few housekeeping items. So thank you so much. We're so glad all of you could be here with us this evening. So presentation number 2.1, presentation and discussion on new fall prevention program in Leon Valley. And we have Officer Garcia here this evening to present. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, citizens, for allowing me to
speak
tonight.
I always say, don't fall. Bad things come when you fall. Ooh. So you're going to educate us tonight, so thank you.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Eli Garcia. I'm a firefighter paramedic with the Leon Valley Fire Department. I am also a injury prevention officer.
Great.
I'd like to acknowledge Tracy Zirkle from Oasis, Gina Dawson from Methodist Healthcare, and our medical director, Dr. Craig Manifold.
Oh, good to see you again. Thank you. Welcome.
Tonight to present to you all a new and exciting program coming to Leon Valley EMS. We came up with a fall prevention program whose purpose is to reduce the number of injuries and deaths related to fall incidents through education, communication, opportunity, and empowerment. When we get a fall, it's not the Hollywood smoke, fire, jaws of life type of call. It's a fall, and it's pretty non-exciting. Unfortunately, that's the reason why it doesn't get the attention it deserves. Falls are our number one call here in Leon Valley. Number one. We average about 3,000 calls a year, and over 200 of them are falls. And falls account for the number one cause of death among seniors over 50. That's the number we want to change. That's our main goal right there. We want Leon Valley to become a safer and healthier community for our seniors. So what do? A bunch of us medics gathered around the fire table, discussed all the reasons why people keep falling, or what we've seen. So we came up with a pretty good plan, and I know it's going to work. Our fall prevention program consists of 6 primary components: exercise, health assessment, medication assessment, vision assessment, home assessments, and the enlistment of family. I'll go into detail here in a little bit on those, but first I want to tell you why this program is going to work. First of all, it enables our paramedics to work one-on-one with the patient. Our paramedics respond to these calls like any other paramedic in the state. We go pick up this patient that's fallen, transport them, and we come home. That's it. That's the call right there. And then it happens again. We go and do the same thing again and again. Meanwhile, the patient is dealing with doctor appointments, medications, the injury itself. There's a lot of suffering going on with the patient. So what this program's purpose is, it enables the paramedic to work one-on-one, like I said, with the patient. And unknowingly, the patient doesn't know there's other resources like Oasis and Methodist Healthcare that provide great outreach, great therapy, great classes. It's just a matter of fact that they don't know. So us, as being the front line, we gather all this information, put it in a package, and present it to the patient. And we're going to use it just like we use our monitors, our glucometers. This package, we're going to hand it to the patient. It's filled with documentation, non-slip socks, night lights, flashlights, stuff like that. This program's going to work because we have outreach programs. We have outreach planned from nutrition, exercise, stretching, all sorts of free classes coming to Leon Valley. This program is going to work because we have measurable results. In a year, we are going to know whether or not what we're doing today is working. Like I said, an average cost of a fall is about $20,000. That's a lot, and that's pretty much across the nation. Huge statistic. We are going to use, this program works because we're going to use all of our media resources. We're going to blanket the community with information specifically targeting fall prevention. We're going to have brochures at the City Hall, at the fire station, at our library, at the Senior Citizen Conference Center. We're going to post articles on social media platforms, all of them. We are going to post articles about fall prevention in the Lions Roar. We're going to do all this to battle that #1 injury, which is falls in Leon Valley. So real quick in detail, what the program consists of is exercise. Exercise, like I said, we already have classes set up in our fire department training room to deal with matter of balance, medication matters. Classes like Tai Chi, they're coming to Leon Valley, they're here, they're scheduled, we're ready to go. Health assessments. We're going to really encourage the community to take health assessments very seriously. Health assessments, a patient that keeps falling probably doesn't know exactly what's causing them to fall until they get a health assessment. So we're providing free health assessments. Medication assessments, again, these patients don't know that there's resources out there like CVS, HEB, Walgreens that offer free medication assessments. So we're going to give them that information. Vision assessments, big one. You can't see, you're going to fall. So we're working with the Lions Club to provide mobile and portable assessments for our community. Home assessments. This one I take pretty serious. It's close to heart. As a firefighter, paramedic, I go to these patients' homes. I see them hurting, falling. I don't want to go to someone's house in an ambulance. I'd rather much go in the pickup truck, carrying a clipboard, walking around the house, trying to pinpoint these fall risks before they happen, taking a proactive approach. And last, enlist the family. When a patient falls and goes through all these injuries, the support and encouragement from the family is very important. So we're going to try and contact the family, the patient's family, to encourage this. Again, leading cause of injuries, deaths for older adults are falls. All of these falls are preventable. 1 in 3 older adults will fall this year. That's 2014, 27,000 falls were reported. That's 74 patients that have died resulting from a fall a day. That's our focus right there. We want to get that number down. Teamwork. Like I've said, we've partnered with great regional partners like Oasis and Methodist that donated a lot of material. They're working with me pretty close to battle this list right here. This list is what we came up with, that over and over we see that people are falling. Medication interaction, loss of strength, loss of flexibility, improper footwear. This is the #1 list that we're going after this year. This program's purpose meets the needs of the community and answers the highest risks faced by our citizens. The program supports our strategic goal #2, to improve the safety and security of the city of Leon Valley through active community education and outreach. Now that concludes my presentation, but before I go, I'd like to give you all, I call them reminder bags. This is what we're going to carry in back of the ambulance, and like I said, we're going to use it like our cardiac monitor, our glucometer. It's just another tool in the back of our ambulance that the patients can go through. Now, I'm not calling you all fall risks. I'm going to go on the record for that. But if you know of a neighbor, of a family that is in need of something like this, encourage them to look through our material, participate in the program, and what you'll find in the bag is some non-slip socks, a flashlight, night light, a lot of information about fall prevention. Thank you very
Very
much.
good. Thank you. Yes, I know we probably had some questions for you, Officer. Is this program just for Leon Valleyites?
Yes.
Okay.
But we're not just going to keep it in Leon Valley.
Right.
Whoever wants it is welcome.
Sure. I was just thinking of the senior citizens. We have them. I know they congregate once a month at a luncheon, and they always have speakers. And I thought that you'd be a great speaker there.
We have plans
And
to
so-
go to our senior communities and expand
Right.
this program as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, Counselor Martinez.
One of the things that you mentioned was medication assessment. Does that also include looking at their medications? Because I know in the past, people go to different doctors, and different doctors give them medication. You know, you could have somebody taking 20 different pills, and a lot of them could be fighting each other. And do you really go through that and say, hey, you really need to go back to your doctor, you shouldn't be taking this and taking this at the same time?
And that's what these resources out there, these CVS, these Walgreens, they offer free medication assessments.
But that's only for the ones that they present at the time.
all
It's not
medications.
for them going to, you know, if you go to CVS and for them, that's good. But if they go to Walgreens for another prescription, they're not going to know about that.
Now, from what I've understood, they've told me that you could take a bag of drugs, a prescription medication, and their pharmacists will review and explain to you the contradictions, the side effects, and maybe that will limit their falls if it's due to medications.
Thank you.
You know, I was just going to make a comment that a real dear friend of ours that's on one of our committees, she fell, I'll never forget, it was National Night Out Night, which was October 2nd of last year, and she's still in rehab today. And so and she fell at her home.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you are so right. This is very, very concerning. We need to educate ourselves and try to prevent as much as we can. So, but thank you for that. Any other questions for, yes?
I was just going to
Yes.
jump in. Chief Valdez asked me
Thank you.
to offer
Good
a
evening
few
and welcome.
words as your EMS medical director. It's really an honor to be here for mayor and council and staff and citizens. And so just to take a brief moment to say thank you for your support for these wonderful programs. And as you see, EMS and fire-based EMS systems are spreading their knowledge and experience and wealth outside of just putting water on a fire. We see them taking proactive measurements to help ensure the health of our communities with programs like this. We hope this is the initial program of many more to come. You'll hear the educational terms that we're calling it mobile integrated health. And so it's working collaboratively with other organizations, bringing in all the resources for these individuals and members of our community so that we can make their health better. With a fall prevention, as you can imagine, most of us have probably had family members who've fallen and hit their head, and there can be the combination of blood thinner medications that can cause severe, devastating injury, even death, or a member who's fallen and broken their hip. And when that happens, it becomes a cycle that we have to make sure that we have to work hard to bring them out of that with these type of programs. But if we can prevent one fall, we've stopped that cycle initially. And so a tremendous outreach effort for our folks. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to bringing more. Not every council member around the country today gets to go home with a stylish pair of socks like you have.
Yeah, I can't wait to wear them.
And I will just mention also that I wasn't really worried until we put seniors up there in age 50, and then that hit a little close to home. So be careful. But thank you very much for your support and efforts. And don't worry, we'll be back to ask for more resources for programs like this in the future. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. All righty. Take care. All right. Then moving then to, thank you all for coming this evening. Do appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Agenda item number 3, we have our city manager's report. Ms. Kinsler, if you'd like to begin, please. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Good evening, everyone. The first thing that I'd like to bring to your attention is we want to make a correction to the presentation regarding the contract with Fire Recovery LLC by Chief Valdez during the last City Council meeting. In the Chief's presentation, he stated that the estimate in recovery to the City of Leon Valley was 80%, and it is 80%, and the commission to be paid is 20%, and it is. But one of our residents, and he's not here tonight, is he? Nope, he's not here. But one of our residents said, hey, we found a math error. And they were right. So what he did is he provided a breakdown estimate that provided a total of $54,544 in recovery to the city, when in fact he didn't take into account the 20% deduction for the commission for the Fire Recovery LLC. So it actually, that's why we did the big red. We just wanted to correct this on the record. So when he told you that it was going to bring in 54,544 annually, the correct figure really should have been 43,635. The slides that you see right there show what the correction revenue should have looked like. And we're bringing this to your attention really in the interest of total transparency, to correct the record, so that we show the record is corrected, and to show an adequate record indicating the correct amount. So that's the reason this slide is up there, just to try to correct a math error from last time. Also, everybody should have received their Lions report by now. I also wanted to share with you the results from the town hall meeting. If you look at the first one, that's the Bandera Road question. Just so you know, these are on the city's website. They were posted on e-news, but wanted to go ahead and get them on record in a city council meeting as well. From that slide, it looks like you had about 88.10% of your residents that attended the town hall meeting. And I think we issued 97 clickers. But they prefer the boulevard with the multimodal access. Regarding the pool, there were some really simple questions, and this one was whether or not they wanted additional aquatic programs. 91% said yes. The next one had to do with more options at the concession stand for the pool, and you had 80% saying yes. The next question was also about the pool, and it asked whether or not citizens were in favor of a private company operating all aspects of the city pool, and 64.13% said yes to that one. And then your last one had to do with the vacant lot at Peachtree and Poss. If you could go to the next one. Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. It just says poll question. Got it. Oh, thank you. And so on that one, it was kind of interesting. So it'll be interesting what your moderator comes up with from all the questions that we had at the tables. But we gave them 3 options or an other option, because the fourth option didn't have anything to do with that lot. So we changed it to other, and they chose other at 48.91%. And so they wanted something other than the 3 options that we presented. And so we'll see what the moderator's report says and whether there was any consistency in those options or not. We can take that back up. But just wanted to make sure that you all knew that the report, that these questions were on your website and were reported out in e-news as well. Then wanted to let you know that the Leon Valley Fire Department raised $4,000 for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and they were first place in their monies raised for this cause at the annual tower climb held actually during the day of our town hall meeting. They took home 3rd place in the actual timed event. They had 16 firefighters participating, and we had 1 police officer that participated. Update on the Evers Road Bridge. The gas contractor for the Evers Road Bridge has delivered all of his gas main piping, and the gas main work is scheduled to begin on February the 8th. The sidewalks directly in front of the library and then those in front of that bus stop area, they've been torn out temporarily, if you've noticed that.
I experienced it on Sunday.
Okay,
Yeah,
so there's
my
no more
granddaughter.
pedestrian
Hopefully we can't
access
get
for the time being, and those sidewalks are going to have to be rebuilt.
Right.
And so we would encourage everybody to stay away from that area and stay away from the work area. It's dangerous. But once the gas main piping is done, the dirt work will then begin, and the dirt work will actually deepen the creek. That'll happen first. And then what'll be cool is we're watching that, you will then see the box culverts constructed after that. So I think people will get maybe a little more excited at that point because they'll see that real progress versus, the lines that are having to go through right now. The wayfinding signage, I think Public Works did a great job on, that's been done and they're up. There's signage at the library, the conference center, the Kinman House, the community center, and they're really nice looking signs. And there's one over at Public Works as well. And then the temporary signage that Mrs. Pearl talked to us about last time at the corner of Evers and Seneca should be up. Melinda ordered it, and it should be up by the end of next week. We have announced on our social media sites that Waste Management is going to be issuing refunds by the end of February. They had originally told us, and we quoted them, by the end of January. Now it's by the end of February. Also refunds for the residents who, many of you has brought this to my attention, got that $5 bill with the late fee and then no charge. That was also issued in error. And so if a citizen did happen to pay that, they're supposed to be refunding that as well. But it definitely sounds like more residents got that than did not. I've heard a lot from a lot of people about that. There was an article yesterday, if you didn't see it, in the Express News about the future of Bandera Road. And you may want to look it up, Google it. It also discusses our town hall meeting in that. Mayor Riley is quoted. I thought it was a good article. As of today, we now have 2 red light cameras that are up and running, and we're still expecting all red light cameras to be up and running by February the 20th. So we're still on schedule there.
Are we still in the grace period right
We
now?
are, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We will be in the grace period until February 20th.
Okay, very good.
Yes, ma'am. So what people are receiving now are citations. And Chief Salvaggio, once we get everything up, is going to come back and try to do a quick presentation just showing you some of the violations that they found that have really shocked them. Like one he just shared with Councilor Martinez and me earlier was a school bus that it had already been red for a few seconds and went flying through, did you say at 46 miles an hour? At 46 miles an hour, yeah. And so he's going to start showing you some of those violations so you can see that they're just blatant violations that we're ticketing for.
We're talking school bus with kids in there?
Yes, yeah.
Aye. Oh.
And so we're going to be showing you that in the near future. But, I mean, this is nothing we need to sell to the Leon Valley residents because they want it. But I think this will help them know that they did the right thing. And I think it's not hard to know you did the right thing when you sit out and you look at these intersections and you can sit there and watch 5 or 6 violations in one cycle change. But anyways, so that's the videos are coming across really clear. And I think, did you get to see a video, Councilor Martinez? Or was it clear to you?
The videos are exceptionally clear. You see everything, and it's amazing how vivid they are.
Yes.
And
Ms. Alcacer.
regarding the citations versus the warnings, you had said they're just receiving warnings now, but the chief said that starting February 20th, even though the camera has just gone in on the 19th, every camera, no matter where it is, will no longer be a warning. They'll all be citations.
That's
So
exactly right.
Don't take a chance after the 20th or on the 20th.
No. After the 20th, the warning period is over. That's what's being issued now is warnings. Once your first camera goes up, your warning period starts. And that's why we try to do so much press and publicity to let people know what's happening. But once February 20th goes, we've had at least 1 camera up, and they'll all be up by February 20th, and then warning period's over. That's correct.
Yes, I'm sorry.
What's the
Councilor Jordan.
What's the location of the second live camera right now? Timco was the first one, and what's the second one?
Chief knows. He just got off the phone with Justin.
Mayor Council.
Hello?
It's position number 5. Now, what does that mean? I'm not sure.
Okay, that's
From
fine.
what he basically told me, I think he thinks it's Grissom, but it's the way they've named it. He was supposed to email me before council, and I don't think he's done that. But I believe it's Grissom that's the next one that's going live. Because if you go down there, that being 1, you start counting down. It's probably Grissom Road.
Okay, well, I ran that light today, so.
You're going to get a warning.
I'll be
Goodness,
seeing
it was a warning.
Exactly. Don't do it after February 20th, as Councilor Alcacer says. February 19th, city offices are closed in observance of President's Day. The next city council meeting is scheduled for February 20th, 2 weeks from this evening, 6:00 p.m. right here. Earthwise Living Day is coming up March 3rd from 9:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon. May 7th is the general election. The filing period is January 17th to February the 16th. Volunteer Appreciation Dinner will be at the Conference Center, April 5th at 6 o'clock p.m. The Seniors Trash and Treasure Sale will be held March 31st from 9 to 2 at the Community Center. The Alamo Area MPO public meeting for the Bexar County area is February 21st, 6 o'clock at the Via Metropolitan Transit Center. Committee meeting, Earthwise, meets tomorrow at 5:30. The Library Board of Trustees meets next week, February 13th at 5:30, and the next Zoning Commission meeting is February 27th at 6:30 p.m. With that, I will stand for questions.
Okay. Are there any other additional questions for our city manager this evening? Okay. Seeing none, then we will move to announcements. No, citizens to be heard. Any citizen in our chambers this evening that would like to address the council at this time, please come forward, state your name and your city that you live in, and you have up to 5 minutes to speak. Awfully quiet this evening. Okay. If there's no citizens to be heard, then we will move to announcements by the mayor and council members. Councilor Edwards, do you have any announcements this evening?
Yes, I just wanted to say it was great to see so many people come out for the town hall meeting. I think it was the largest, perhaps, of all that have been held, and it was good to see everybody. And at the town hall meeting, someone was asking me who had the who ran the first light, and maybe it was Councilman Jordan. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Alcacer.
Thank you for attending. I would like to commend the staff for the hard work they've done in the last few meetings in particular. It gives us too much work. 611 pages this week is what we had to read to be here. I don't know if we all get an A or not, but I did read them. So keep in mind that we are unpaid. Be kind to us, be kind to your neighbor, be kind to the staff. It's okay to be critical. Just be critical positively. It can be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilor Martinez.
Other than what my other councilors have said, I welcome everybody that showed up at the town hall meeting. We really got some good advice and good direction on how we need to move forward this year. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Thanks for everyone coming out tonight. And I did predict that Philadelphia would beat the Patriots, and I was right. So thank you.
Go Birds.
How much money did you win?
Councilor Ely.
Yes. I also want to reiterate the same thing. Thank you for everyone who showed up at the town hall meeting. It was a great event, a lot of great feedback and motivation for us to keep moving forward. We have a lot of great people in our community that like what's happening, and if they don't like it, they let us know, and we need that. But it's always a good, constructive atmosphere that we have at our town hall, which is very conducive to getting things moving forward, so it's great. I did want to mention that this coming election year, I will not follow up and seek re-election. I decided to step down because I have other commitments that I want to proceed with in my life, and doesn't mean I'm going to stop putting my 2 cents in here, you guys, you know that. But I do feel that I have other pressing personal issues as well as business issues that I want to pursue. And as you've heard before, we have too much paperwork on our hands to take care of here in City Council. And I'd like to leave it to someone else who's in very capable hands, hopefully. I've enjoyed my time here with City Council and feel very blessed to have been allowed to serve you. Thank you so much for the time, and hopefully we will continue to work together as a group, as a community, to move this place forward and keep Leon Valley high on the map, and everybody's going to notice us. So it's a great place to be. Last thing I'd like to say is we do have our Leon Valley Raw Vegan Vegetarian Society coming up February 17th. We're going to be lucky to have a lady called Chris Suave. She owns Munch On and Beyond. It's a wonderful organic vegan establishment where she serves many different items there. She's going to be at Earthwise this year, representing her company there, and we'll have a lot of great vegan options and raw juice options, and tamales, vegan tamales, so we'll have great. But she'll be making a vegan cheesecake at our society, as well as we have a lady, Jean Dukes, who will be providing a session on essential oils and how they help you and can help cure you and some of the things you might need them for. So hope to see people there. It's going to be February 17th at the fire station, 1:30 to 4:30. Hope to see you. Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ely. You still have 3 more months of work now, and you still have to go through the packet, so just teasing. But thank you for your service. Do appreciate it. Let's see. Yes, the kudos on the town hall meeting. Just a reminder that the very last thing that we did at the town hall was to brainstorm the strategic plan, and we did not get a report yet, but we will pass that on to the Coffee with the Mayor and Council, which is the last Saturday of April, to continue that work there. So just wanted to follow up on that. One other thing that I'd like some help on with my counselors, the reason why we have such a massive agenda last time and this time is because we're now a home rule city. And so the staff are just as zealous as they love to be as far as moving our city forward, which I really appreciate. We have a lot of issues that we've already taken up, and you can see it on your packet this evening. We have 6 second reads. Everything has to be read in two separate readings. The first read, we don't make a decision, but then the second read, it comes back. And if you'll notice on your agenda this evening, we're talking about junk vehicles, towing, graffiti, massage parlors or massage establishments, and fortune telling. So these are updated ordinances because we now are home rule and we can do this. But there's a lot more coming down the pipeline. And so unless it's an emergency, I'd like to try to work together with the counselors and try to prioritize, because there's quite a number. I know Chief Joe has 5, 6, 7, or 8, or he's got a lot more coming down. And so maybe we could develop some criteria. One of the things I was thinking of, especially if it's maybe police related, that we need to run it by a committee to try to get more input from our citizens who volunteer on the police advisory, or if it's beautification, maybe through the beautification committee. I mean, these are just ideas, but I'd like your input. So I'm not sure when we can do that, maybe do a workshop or come early or do a council meeting or whatever. But that's what I'd like to see, because we got a lot, as you'll see this evening. We're approving number 7, second reading, and then on the regular agenda, we have some other ordinances, but we also just have our regular business, like our zoning, our SUPs, and they need 2 readings as well. So, all right. So with that, no more announcements, but thank you all very much for being here. So we move then to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items 6, 1, and 2, and 3. Is there any counselor that would like to remove one of those consent agenda items for discussion? If not, may I please have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve them as written.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Ely to approve consent agenda item number 6, 1, 2, and 3. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Now, on agenda item number 7, ordinance. Ms. Pasley, let's just be sure we're on the same page here. Last time I read it, and then you read the ordinance, but I think on the second readings, would you like to just read the ordinance? Or would you like for me to read it first?
I think we still have to read the agenda caption.
We do.
Need to read
Okay,
the agenda
I will do that then.
caption. Am I correct?
Okay. All right, so I'll read the agenda caption, then you'll read the ordinance. Is that what you want to do? Okay, very good. So we're learning as we go on. This is new territory for our city, which is exciting. Agenda item number 7 under ordinances. Number 1, discussion and possible action on a second reading of an ordinance, the establishment and implementation of a program to charge mitigation rates for the deployment of emergency and non-emergency services by the Leon Valley Fire Department, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement with Fire Recovery USA, LLC, for billing and collection services. And of course, the first reading was held at the last meeting on January 23rd. And Chief Valdez, if you'd like to just, I know we had a correction during the city manager's report. Is there anything that you'd like to add or any questions? I know Dr. Edwards was not here. Did you have any?
Excuse
Yes.
me, Mayor and Council.
Oh, she's got to read. She's got to
Yes.
read. That's right.
Yes.
See, I'm so used to going right into it. Okay, there we go. Time
I
out.
didn't want to interrupt you. I
You're
figured
so
Denise
sweet.
could do
Thank
that.
you. I appreciate it. That was so nice of you. Okay. You got to hear this again, but the ordinance now. Okay, go ahead.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas, authorizing the establishment and implementation of a program to charge mitigation rates for the development of emergency and non-emergency services by, for the Leon Valley Fire Department, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement with Fire Recovery USA, LLC, for billing and collection services.
Thank you. Okay. So we have Chief Valdez, and I don't know. This is new, so how do we want to handle the second reading?
Mayor and
Yes.
Council, so at this point, he doesn't have to do another presentation. If y'all have any questions of him from the last time, then go ahead and ask him. If y'all want to deliberate again, or if you want to go straight into a motion to vote, you can do that. So however you want to handle it, Mayor.
Okay. And I was just going to give Dr. Edwards the courtesy of asking any questions since he wasn't here at the last time. So. Okay, very good. So what's the pleasure of the council? Any other questions or motion?
Can I make a motion that we adopt this ordinance as presented?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Martinez and a second by Councilor Jordan to adopt this ordinance as presented regarding the Fire Recovery USA LLC issue on billing and collection services. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you, Chief. Do appreciate it. Then ordinance number 7.2, discussion and possible action on a second reading of an ordinance amending the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Article 08.008, junked vehicles, to provide the city more latitude to remove, store, and dispose of junk vehicles. The first reading was held on January 23rd, 2017. Ms. Postley, if you'll read the ordinance, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 08.008 and the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuisances, Article 8.08, Junked Vehicles, Section 8.08.001, Definitions, Section 8.08.02, Declaration of Nuisance, 8.08.003, Abatement Order, and Section 8.08.004, Removal by City, Disposal of Removed Vehicles.
Okay, thank you. We have Chief Joe Salvaggio here to answer any additional questions. And again, Dr. Edwards, if you have any questions since you weren't here for the first reading.
No, I met with the chief.
Very good. Thank
Mayor
you.
and Council, I do have one. The attorneys got together and decided that one sentence out of all that was a little misleading. Actually, Mr. Smith actually sent it in. I was going to give him the credit. That one sentence needs to be changed in there. We couldn't get it into your packet. So I'm going to ask for one sentence, and I'll read it to you where it's in your packet, and we're going to ask for it to be approved with this one amendment.
Okay.
And it's something very minor. It's just the way it's worded could lead somebody to believe. If you look at, I'm not sure which page it's on for the packet, but it's in this one we're talking about, and it's under B.5, and it said outside storage of junk vehicles at any business prohibited unless approved by the zoning commission and city council. That was never really intended for it to say that both of them have to approve. It really was talking about going through the process of an SUP and having to come to y'all to ask for outside storage of vehicles. And so it's been recommended that we change that section 2B5 to say outside storage of junk vehicles any business is prohibited unless the city council approves a variance to the present zoning or application to rezone. So that is what we were trying to say in that one line. So we're asking you to also take in consideration that one line and swap that out in what you vote on today.
Okay. Ms. Moritz, do you have a comment? Yes, ma'am. Please add to it.
Thank you.
Yes.
The city council can't give a variance to the zoning code, only the Board of Adjustment can.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So does that have to be amended again?
To the Board of Adjustment rather than zoning?
Can I, sorry,
Yes.
Mayor and Council,
No,
can I
go
ask
ahead.
Melinda a
You
question?
sure may.
Melinda, is the rezoning, is that the variance? If it was an application for rezoning? Because it's just for, the council needs to approve. Don't they
The
come back to
statement-
council for final approval of any variance or SUP or?
The city council approves specific use permits and they approve rezoning requests. They can't approve a variance to the zoning code itself. And so the statement says, outside storage of junk vehicles at any business is prohibited unless the city council approves a variance to the present zoning or application to rezone. So they can't approve a variance.
Okay, so we can
Period.
change that to specific use.
Has to be
Would it
purchased.
be, would there be a variance or specific use permit?
It could say unless the council approves a specific use permit.
Okay. Is the council, mayor and council okay with that language?
She's sticking with the word variance instead of
No,
specific.
Take variance out.
take variance out and
And
put
substitute specific
specific
use.
use permit.
That's what I was going to
Sorry,
say.
sorry.
Where is this exactly in the ordinance?
Section 2B5.
B5. Can you tell me the page when you're on there? Got the,
Page 100. Packet page 100? Packet page 100?
100?
Packet page.
Yeah, that's what I want. Thank you. 100, great. Thank you.
That makes it appear that it has to be proved by both, and that's the reason that we didn't like that language.
So now that you've read it, I'll just repeat. We
Okay.
want to change it to outside storage of junk vehicles at any business is prohibited unless the city council approves a special use permit to the present zoning or application to rezone.
Did everybody get that?
So I move that we approve the junk vehicle ordinance as amended.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Counselor Alcacer and a second by Counselor Jordan to approve the junk vehicle ordinance as amended this evening. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Okay, thank you very much, Chief. I just wanted to also say if there's anyone that's in our chambers this evening that would like, if you have a question on any of these ordinances, if you'll just raise your hand and come on up to the podium, because I do want to allow that discussion as well. All right. And that's for 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are all ordinances for the second read. Okay, agenda item number 7.3, discussion and possible action on a second reading of an ordinance amending ordinance 2017-19, impound lot, to comply with new state law, correspond with amended junk vehicle ordinance, and allow discretion for use of the city and waive waive towing fees. And again, our first reading was on January 23rd, 2017. And Ms. Postley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
Amending ordinance number 2017-19, impound lot, adopted May 16, 2017, and the City of Leon Valley City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 12, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 12.06, impound lot, Section 12.06.002, authority to impound vehicles, Section 12.06.004, sale of vehicle, Section 12.06.005, release of towed vehicle, and Section 12.06.006, auction procedures for vehicles sold from impound lot.
Okay, very good.
Ma'am, I have
Yes.
one amendment on that
Another
that was brought
amendment,
up
yes, sir.
from Councilman Martinez
All
at the
right.
last meeting, and it's to Section 12.06.004 under sale of vehicles, which is like the second page of my, would have been my second page on that. I'm not sure. And currently it says, if after the expiration of 21 days after mailing or publishing the notice sent out in this chapter, there was some discussion about, well, what does that mean? We follow the state law on that. 21 days is fine, and the mailing has to be done within 5 days, meaning that the earliest you could do it at 26 days would be, that's the earliest you could sell one of the vehicles. We've decided to go ahead and take that out and just say, if after the expiration of 30 days of the vehicle being towed into the impound lot. So it'll actually cover both of those periods in plain English so that there's no confusion of what that part about after mailing or publishing a notice sent out in this chapter. And so that's Section 12.06.004, sell a vehicle.
What page is that in the?
I'm not sure in your packet, sir. It's the second page of that ordinance.
Oh, okay.
21?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
This sell a vehicle, and it's the first line. Yeah, under Section 12.06.004.
So instead of 21 days, we're going to say 30 days.
Just 30 days.
Article 1206, and there's its other section.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Section 2 of the ordinance.
All right. Are there any other questions for Chief Salvaggio on this particular ordinance? Yes, Councilor Martinez.
I just have one comment more directed at staff. When I really like the changes in the ordinance showing up in blue, but then if council makes any changes further, could those changes be put in red or, some other color? That way we can come down and really easily spot them.
Okay, I think that's a good suggestion. Yeah.
Mayor, Councilor Martinez, just to make sure I'm clear on this, after the first reading, if you've made changes, when it's time for what we're doing right now for the second reading, you want to see your changes in red?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. That's not a problem. Thank you.
Okay.
So I move we approve the impound lot ordinance as amended.
Second.
All right. We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Edward to approve the ordinance amending the impound lot as amended. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Then moving down to 7.4 ordinance. Discussion and possible action on a second reading of an ordinance amending the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuisances, Article 8.03, Graffiti, Section 08.03.074, Removal Record, 08.03.075, Notice to Remove, 0803.076, Hearing, and 08.03.077, Abatement by City and Collection of City Expenses. And again, the first reading was held on January 23rd, 2018. And Councilor, City Secretary Postley, if you'll read the ordinance, please. Thank you.
I like Counselor, that sounded
Oh,
kind
you
of
like that, huh? Okay.
But is that a promotion or a demotion?
Sorry.
Amending ordinance number 04-007, graffiti, adopted April 6, 2004, and the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuisances, Article 8.03, Graffiti, Section 08.03.074, Removal Required, 08.03.075, Notice to Remove, 08.03.076, Hearing, and 08.03.077, Abatement by City, Collection of City's Expenses, providing for repealing and severability clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Chief Salvaggio on this particular ordinance, either from the council or for anyone that's residing in our chambers? Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the graffiti ordinance as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Martinez to approve the ordinance regarding graffiti as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you. Moving then to agenda item 7.5 under ordinance, discussion and possible action on a second reading of an ordinance amending the Leon Valley Code of Ordinances to add Article 4.09 massage establishments. And again, the first reading was held on January 23rd, 2018. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances, Chapter 4, Business Regulations by adding Article 4.09, Massage Establishments, and adding to Appendix A, Fee Schedule, Article A 17.000, Miscellaneous Fees, Section A 17.005, Permitting Fee, providing for a penalty, providing for repealing severability and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the ordinance pertaining to massage establishments for either Chief Joe or anyone else, council or our residents this evening?
I move that we accept the ordinance
Second.
as is presented.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilor Edwards and a second by Councilor Jordan to approve the ordinance as presented regarding the massage establishments. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion does carry. Then the final ordinance under 7.6, discussion and possible action on a second reading of an ordinance amending the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances to Article 4.10, fortune telling. And again, our first reading was held January 23rd, 2018. Ms. Pasolet, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances, Chapter 4, Business Regulations, adding Article 4.10, Fortune Teller Establishments, amending Appendix A, Fee Schedule, Article A 17.000, Miscellaneous Fees, Section A 17.005, Permitting Fee, providing for a penalty, providing for repealing and severability and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Chief, I just had a question. Do we have a fortune-telling company in Leon Valley?
Do not have one legally operating at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't think I'd seen one, so I was just curious. Okay.
Do the tarot cards count?
We don't have a legally operating one at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, I didn't say it. She said it. Okay. Any other questions for Chief Joe on this particular ordinance? Okay.
So I move that we accept the fortune-telling ordinance as recommended.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Ely to approve the ordinance amending the fortune-telling fortune-telling issue ordinance. Any further discussion? Oh, it's getting, tongue twisting here. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Okay. Look at all these ordinances that you now have, Chief.
I'll be back.
You'll be back, I know. That's why I was saying we got to prioritize these. Okay, then we move to the regular agenda item number 8. Discuss, consider, and possible action on the approval of a comprehensive annual financial report or audit for fiscal year 2017. And we have our financial officer, Vicki Wallace, here this evening, and Debbie Frazier from Armstrong Vaughn, CPA.
Pardon me, Mayor?
Yes.
And Council. Sandra has to read the
She has to
caption
read
of the
this too.
ordinance.
Okay.
Yes, even on the first reading.
Even on the first reading.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first reading. It doesn't say first reading. This was
is-
just a presentation. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
Okay, yeah, I thought we had a couple of regular former agendas items that we felt most comfortable with, and this was one of them. Okay, very good, thank you. Well, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
All right.
I just wanted to introduce Debbie Frazier.
Hi, Debbie.
This is their first year, our brand-new auditors from Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates.
Very good.
Give you overview, and you have sitting at each one of your seats the actual bound copy of the CAFR, and then you got it obviously all in one packet.
Good evening.
Good
Like
evening.
you said, my name is Debbie Frazier, and we're very fortunate to be able to audit the city. I'd like to start by thanking Vicki and Ashley. We probably make their lives uncomfortable for about a week and a half, but we hope they get over it after we leave and take a little vacation.
Well, I thought it was longer than that.
Well,
A week and a half?
It is a little longer,
Yeah.
but I'd say only a week and a half of full.
Oh, okay,
You know.
all right. Because I've seen y'all here during the summer going
Discomfort.
through all of the documentation that they give you, and so I thought it was more than a week and a half. Okay,
It probably
very good. Thank you.
And we did provide about 114 pages of the packet that you received, and hope that you all had the opportunity to read it. So I'm going to start. The CAFR is split into several different areas. You have the introduction. That's a letter that's written by the city manager and the finance director, and then you have the independent auditor's report. You received an unmodified opinion, which means that after your financial statements are adjusted, that they're fairly stated and materially correct. The next section is the management discussion and analysis, and that's really written from the city's point of view. The next are the government-wide financial statements. Those statements are on the full accrual basis, not how you usually budget, except for proprietary. And then the next are the fund statements. The fund statements are usually how you budget your governmental funds or your general fund. The notes to the financial statements are next, and then your required supplementary information, which includes budget to actual information as well as your pension, TMRS liabilities. The supplemental, combining, and individual financial statements are all your governmental funds compared from prior year to current year. And then your statistical section, which I think for most non-accountants, even accountants, it's one of the most interesting item to read because it gives you 10 years of data for each type of information that we have in there. We have to follow generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. I already, I guess, basically said that our job is to form an opinion on your financial statements, and we did give you an unmodified opinion, which was the best opinion that you can get. After adjustments, your financial statements are fairly stated and materially correct. The management discussion and analysis, I actually kind of went over that, but it hits financial highlights on the full accrual basis for the most part. And again, you don't budget full accrual, but it is nice to look at that at least once a year. In your governmental-wide statements, and you can find the actual governmental-wide statements on, page 15 and 16, but your assets of the city exceeded liabilities by approximately $14.9 million at September 30th, 2017. Again, this is full accrual, so it includes fixed assets, debt, compensated absences, things that you don't normally see on your modified accrual statements. So your net position increased by almost $1.7 million, primarily due to ad valorem sales and franchise tax increases. Your business type activities, which encompass your proprietary water sewer funds, your assets exceeded liabilities by $7.5 million at the end of the year, and you had unrestricted net position that increased $973,000 to $2.2 million at the end of September. On the financial highlights of the primary government, it's broken down into your governmental and your business type activities, and you can see that you had net investment and capital assets of $13.5 million overall. $9.5 million belonged to governmental, and $4 million belonged to your business type. You had unrestricted of $2.3 million in governmental and $2.2 million in your business type activities. Then in other activities, you had a little over $2.6 million. On your fund highlights, those actually begin on page 19. So your general funds balance at the end of 2017 was $5.1 million. Of that, $3.5 million was unassigned, so that's available to you to spend. The combined fund balance for all of your funds, so this is your debt, your street maintenance, and then your other non-major funds, that was about $7.6 million. Again, this is a breakdown of your fund balances. You did increase your commitment for disaster and emergencies to $1 million this year from $900,000 in the prior year. And you do have $3.5 million of unassigned fund balance in the general fund.
But that includes the $1 million that we have reserved for emergencies,
Separate.
right? That's separate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the 3.5 is...
3.5 is the line at the very bottom.
Mhm.
That's unassigned, and if you
Yeah.
go 4 lines to committed for disaster and emergencies, that's $1 million. So it is separate.
Oh, okay. But it's included. That's what I mean.
Total fund
In our
balance,
total,
yes.
yeah. So when I look at the 3.5 and you take out the $1 million, then it's 2.5. No?
No.
Oh, it's
You
added.
actually have $5.1 million in
Oh.
fund balance.
Oh,
in
why
the
I'm not
general
looking at
fund.
that right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I didn't have this book. I had all the paper in my. So my page numbers do not correspond. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Page 19.
Yeah. I had what was in my. Okay.
5.139.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually page 19 of the book.
Right. So you're saying we have 3.5 million
Unassigned fund
in
balance.
unassigned. This is reserved. This is savings.
That's not your savings. That's just what you haven't spent. It's unassigned. So yes, you have the
I mean-
opportunity to use it next year, but your $1 million is also
But it's
considered savings.
yeah. But I'm saying it's unassigned, so it's there to be
It is
spent.
Yes.
Right.
it is
That's
It is
boy.
available.
I don't. Vicki, did that go up significantly this year? And I thought I saw 477,000, something like that. Is that what we had left over after we budgeted and spent? And that was primarily because of personal savings. Sales tax was really good this year too. We were up like 353,000 more than what we budgeted. And then what else? What would be the other?
Forum.
Ad valorem taxes. We got more there. Okay, very good.
And if you'd want to see something more detailed on that later on, you might want to look at page 56 is where it would start your comparative.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So you
I
can
saw
see that
that.
your
I
sales
like that,
tax.
those 2 pages, yeah.
Actually went
Because
up
it showed the sales tax was up.
393,000.
Mm-hmm.
And ad valorem almost 200,000.
Okay, very good.
So I'm going to
Note something on the sales tax. that-
Yes.
Just remember that part of that increase is because now we have that ED sales tax going in there.
Oh,
November.
okay, that's a good
Well,
point to remember.
November, yeah.
That's,
Mhm.
I want you to understand, that's not what,
It's not our businesses that just generated it, it was that we moved it from a specified fund to the general fund. Thank you for that, that's right, I forgot about that. Okay, that makes a little bit,
The next slide is a trend analysis, and you'll see it attached to your governance letter. But basically, this gives you a 5-year accumulation of, I guess, what your general fund balance is, your average monthly operating expenditures, and kind of the growth rate of those expenditures, the number of months, average expenditures, and fund balance. You have 4.8. The GFOA recommends that anything over 3 months is very good. And then your general bonded debt is 7.3 million. So your ratio of general bonded debt to fund equity is 2.2 to 1. It's a very good ratio.
on the debt, did I see that we're going to actually pay off debt this year, 325,000
Some of
for the
your-
2009 bonds? So, the 31st of this month? Of January? Or, oh, okay, so they're already paid. All right. So now we just have the debt primarily from the bond for the improvement in our
well, we have
capital
the
facilities.
2009 PPFCO, which was for the fire truck.
That's
Then
right.
We have the 2016, which was for this building. The original amount was 7 million. And then we also have the water debt.
Well, that's the enterprise fund, yeah. Okay, very good.
And there is a note that
Mhm.
discusses that debt
Mhm.
towards the back of the notes. I think it starts on page 45.
Okay.
Your financial highlights in your business type activities, net position, it increased by 891,000. That had to do with primarily with an increase in rates.
Increase in
Rates for the
rates.
prior year. Yeah,
Okay,
you
all right.
made. The letter of the do you have any questions on the actual audit before I go on? And if something should come up where, I know this is a quick presentation, and something should come up where any one of you would individually like to call and ask any questions, my number is on page 2, 658-6229, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Right. You know, I actually went through all of this, and I had a question because I couldn't figure out what it was, but in my book, it's page 281. See, I didn't have this audit book.
Can you tell me what it
Yeah,
says
it's
at the
called
top?
Public, let's see, put that back on there. 2009 Public Property Finance Contract, 735,000.
Fire truck.
That's the fire truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I didn't say fire truck. So, you know, put in parentheses next time, fire truck, and then I won't have to question. Okay, and then that's when I saw that it was down. Okay, oh, because really, I mean, it's really interesting reading, if you care. On page 348, we have a history of just real interesting stuff, from how many citations were written and water, the average water consumption per citizen. And when I looked at it, I think it was like, oh, what was it? Let me see what page that was. 348.
It's towards the
Yeah.
back.
But anyway, if anybody really cared, but it was just very, very interesting. I thought it was really, I really enjoyed it. But let me
It's
just,
311
I thought it was 348.
thousand gallons, or 311 gallons in the thousands.
Yeah.
There's the statistical section.
The
Page 109.
statistical section, exactly.
Catherine, so this will be
And so-
online, hopefully
Yeah.
tomorrow, under the financial.
I mean, if you
plans
care,
program.
police arrests, traffic violations, fire calls, EMS calls over the last 10 years. And I guess the water just jumped out at me because I believe, if I'm reading it right, the average use per connection, and I'm not sure if that's daily or it's 311.31. Is that daily or?
Says daily.
Daily, okay. And I don't know if y'all, I guess it just jumped out at me because Cape Town, South Africa, they're on 13.5 gallons a day because they're running out of water. So when I saw that, I'm like, wow. I mean, so this is, anyway, so if y'all, I just thought that was really interesting. Okay, moving on.
Begins on 83, and
Yeah.
and it does have great information. It has 10 years of water collection, tax levies, you know, your debt. So it can be very interesting. Your top 10 principal taxpayers from
right.
this year and 9 years ago. So
Well, and then also you had a section on the TMRS, Texas Municipal Retirement System. I don't understand that, so I'll just have to call you on that one. That's very complicated. But anyway, any other questions on, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
We did issue
Okay.
a letter of conduct. It goes through your accounting policies, your estimates. Your estimates were your allowance for doubtful accounts and your accumulated depreciations. We had no difficulties in the audit. We did have a misstatement, which was considered immaterial. It's in your full accrual statements, but last year, the auditors didn't pick up $103,000 worth of assets, and so we just rolled it forward. But again, in materiality, it wasn't material to your financial statements, but we did have to list it because it was over trivial or performance materiality. It has management representations, so basically the city manager and finance director signed over their firstborn child. And then you had no consultations with other independent accountants, and then you were in compliance with the Public Funds Investment Act. That's about all I have. And again, if you have any questions, there's my number, and I would entertain any questions from the council.
Any questions for Ms. Frazier this evening on the audit from either our council or our citizens in our chambers this evening? I'll call you because I have a few more questions, but I won't belabor it right now. But thank you so much to you and to our staff. I know y'all have worked really, really hard over the last many, many months to get this together. So we appreciate it. Thank you. All righty, great. All right, let me take this up here. All right, so we're now moving to agenda item number.
Excuse me, Mayor?
Yes.
I need a motion to approve that report.
Oh, thank you. We sure do.
Second.
Got too much paper this evening. Okay, we have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Edwards to approve the audit or the comprehensive annual financial report, which is our audit, as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you very much. All righty, y'all have a good evening. Agenda item number 8.2 under the regular agenda, presentation and discussion on the first reading of an ordinance approving the hike and bike trail grading plan and trail alignment. This is our first reading as required by the city charter. And Ms. Pasale, would you please read the ordinance?
Just one moment, I missed that one.
I can't take this out, so unless my whole book will come apart. Okay.
Okay.
The ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley City Council approving the City of Leon Valley hike and bike trail grading plan and trail alignment.
Thank you. Good evening,
Yes, good evening.
Felicia, and
Yes, good evening.
good to see
Yes.
you, Novan.
Yes, Felicia Novin,
I
and I'm
know.
the staff liaison for the Hike and Bike Trail Advisory Committee.
All right.
And in our last meeting, we had a presentation from 6S Engineering by Jeff Swain to discuss the grading plan and trail alignment. And the committee recommended approval to the city council, so we're bringing it forward. Let's see here. I do have the plans on the presentation, but let's see. There is no fiscal impact. The SEE strategic goal statement, the hike and bike trail would provide free. It would be free and open to the public, giving everyone a chance to enjoy the city of Leon Valley. The economic development, it would contribute to the environment that is distinctive and welcoming. And the economic stewardship for the hike and bike trail would preserve natural resources and enhance the environment of earth-friendly practices. The staff recommends approval of the grading plan and trail alignment. And if there are any questions, please let me know.
Okay, thank you. Yes, go ahead. I had a couple of questions, but go right ahead.
I'd like to see the presentation.
Yeah.
Yes, forgive me, I thought it was on here. Just a moment.
Yeah, there should be some pictures that were kind of hard. I was going to ask you.
Sorry, let me find that.
That was it?
Sorry, I had attached it on Minute Track.
Mm. Oh, that's too bad. Because I was going to ask you to...
Just a moment.
Okay.
It was actually the engineered
Right.
plans.
That's what we have in our packet.
Right.
So, yeah.
Felicia, while they're looking for the plan.
Yes.
Crystal, if you'll go back to the fiscal impact on this slide, please. Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. So on this presentation, she says fiscal impact none. That's not so. Because
That's what I was gonna ask.
Exactly, because you'll have the engineering fees for the alignment. And so I wanted to make that correction right now, because they will need to come back to you for a budget adjustment for that. But I just went to verify to make sure I was right.
Okay. And then also, this is the grading. This is what we're
Grading
discussing.
and the trail
And
alignment.
the trail alignment. So is Bear County, who's doing the LC-17 project, going to actually grade the trail for us? And if so, what's the cost, if any?
Mayor, Council, I have written a letter to Bear County asking that they grade the trail as part of the LC-17 project. That was in the original agreement of the LC-17 project. Bear County wrote and said, because you all did not, early on, right after I got here, said, because you all still had not come up with the trail alignment, that they were not going to do any grading. And so we got the hike and bike committee together. They came up with the trail. That's what we're doing this evening. And I have already written a letter to Bear County stating, okay, this is the proposed trail. Now we're asking you to honor your LC-17 agreement and grade this trail. And the answer has been very vague in that we'll see if we can fit it in at this point.
All right.
I don't have a yes or a no yet, but it was, as soon as it was completed, the letter went out to Bear County.
Okay. So then we'd have to discuss that cost, or is it within the grant that we have from the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization?
The grading? No, it is
No,
not.
it's separate. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. It's amazing technology. So now we've got it.
Yes, we found
Okay.
it. This is the rough grading plans and trail alignment. And we're going to have to scroll down since it's not on the PowerPoint. But if we go further, you'll see here the rough grading plan. And the trail alignment is near the top. You can see it there, the darker line, closer to El Verde Road. And that was discussed during the Hike and Bike Trail Advisory Committee meeting. And that we went through all of these. It's basically some smaller, more in-depth shots, but that's the plan in a nutshell.
And the committee is all on board with this as well,
Yes,
right?
correct.
And it goes under the bridge. If you'll go back down, it goes under, the one on the lower goes under the bridge at Bandera Road.
Yes.
And then
right,
connects with the sidewalk.
Right
Yeah.
here. This is
Right.
Bandera Road.
Yeah. And
So it will go up, this is closer to the fire station. You can kind of recognize it'll come up right along the top.
Okay. And can you show us where that heritage tree is that we rerouted the trail to where we would preserve that heritage tree? It was on El Verde, I'm pretty sure.
It was, and
I'm just curious.
forgive me,
I couldn't find it, so.
I did not highlight it, but
Okay.
I do have Joe Cantu with 6S Engineering here. If
Oh,
yeah,
well, okay.
could point that
I
out.
just-
I'm sorry. There you go.
We made a concerted effort to since there were something like, how many trees were cut down? Like 1,000 trees? I mean, a lot of trees have been cut down.
Point
But
out the,
this is the one that we,
Sure.
that
On
we-
this plan, I can't point out the exact
Okay.
location, but we did have a surveyor go out there and pick up all the trees
Mhm.
within our alignment. So we made sure that we avoided all the trees that are within the trail right of way or trail alignment. So specifically, I can't point it out on this plan
Mhm.
just because of the scale, but we did take an effort to avoid
Mhm.
the trees and make sure we're not disturbing the root zones of the trees.
so all of those little circles on the, is the trees,
Circles
right?
on the
Yeah,
plans that are
that's,
true, so.
but I couldn't find the heritage tree. That was, I just was wondering where that was. But, okay. One of those circles. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. All right. And what is this showing us? The
small-
level or
yes,
the?
the smaller sections
Uh-huh.
of that,
Okay.
the entire trail.
Okay.
And then those notes just discuss how they're going to protect the trees during
Okay,
construction.
very good.
And that's
All
it.
right. Are there any other questions for Ms. Novan on this particular agenda item? And we also have Matt Hody, who's the chair of the Hike and Bike Committee. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Hody? I want to thank you and your committee for all your efforts on this. It's been great. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Councilor Jordan.
Do we have an estimate on what the engineering costs would be? Did I miss that?
I do. That would be the 6S Engineering, and I've been, see here, I have the first invoice. But the total, yes.
The total engineering cost for just this portion of it would be $29,600.
Okay. All right.
Is
And-
that still within the budgeted amount?
None of the engineering is covered by
Right,
FHA or TxDOT. That's all on the city. But it is within what we had originally planned for engineering, small portion of it.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Jordan.
Is there, how much is there remaining of the trail to be evaluated by engineer? If you say that portion of it, how much more do we have to complete it?
I didn't bring that information with me, but be happy to get it back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe
Madam
for
Mayor.
the second reading. Mhm.
Excellent, yes.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any questions from our citizens this evening on the hike and bike? Do we have an estimated timeline of when we're going to see this become reality? I know we're still got to wait for the LC 17. Good gracious, man.
It might be done in 21.
It might be done in 21, yeah. Okay.
It depends really on the contractor that's doing the LC-17
Okay.
project. And so
That's
he
the
is
flood
ahead of-
control. I just want everybody to know that's the flood control project in the creek, so everybody knows
is
that.
ahead of schedule.
It is.
And so
Wow.
he is still planning on having it done this summer.
Good.
He's had a lot of problems with the San Antonio water system, water coming into his site, which did put him back a couple of weeks, but they're pumping every day, and so they're still on track. And so if he finishes that project this summer, then the county will maintain that property for 1 year. So they won't be deeding that property to us until that 1-year maintenance period is over. So then that carries us into 19. And once that property is deeded to us, we can then proceed because TxDOT will not let us work on property that we don't own.
Oh, so we actually have to wait a year before we can
Own it.
start. Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
Huh.
That's why it's in the 2019 tip with the
Okay.
NPO.
Okay. All right. Very
But at
good.
least we'll have it graded.
Mhm.
And the landscaping will be done around it as a part of the LC-17 project. And that'll give us a better idea of how much money we need to spend on landscaping of our own on the trail.
Okay. Very good. Okay, thank you. All right. Anyone else? So this is our first reading, and so there's no action as per the new rules for the charter. So we will move then to agenda item number 8.3. This is a public hearing. Discussion and possible action to consider an ordinance declaring a public nuisance and issuing an order in accordance with Article 3.12 Substandard Buildings of Chapter 3 Building Regulations of the City Code of Ordinances for the property located at 6643 Gristmill, Leon Valley, Texas. This is an emergency ordinance, and it only requires one reading, and so we'll be able to take action tonight because it's an emergency. So, Ms. Postley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance declaring a public nuisance and issuing an order in accordance with Article 3.12 Substandard Buildings of Chapter 3 Building Regulations of the City Code of Ordinances for the property located at 6643 Gristmill, Leon Valley, Texas.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Nina Nixon-Mendez,
Yes.
Planning and Zoning Director. I would like to preface the presentation to inform you of an email that I received from the owner, Mr. Amaya. He notified us at 4:29 p.m. today that he has sold the property. He stated he sold the property on January the 19th. So in consulting with our city attorney, our attorney has advised us to go forward with the hearing until such time that he can produce evidence that the property has been sold. And so it is our recommendation that we move forward with the public hearing.
Okay. All right. So whatever actions we take tonight will just attach to the property. Is that what you're saying?
We would actually, if it indeed is sold, we would have to reschedule the public
Oh, we
hearing
will.
because of a new owner.
Oh, so it doesn't transfer.
That's correct.
Okay.
Because
All
the
right.
state, requires that we notify the owner and the lien holder.
But he's only notified us, but we don't have the proof yet. Is that what
That
I'm
is
hearing?
correct. And he indicated he would email that to us, but he could not produce that this evening.
Okay.
And so did you
right.
get
Mayor,
anything
I'm sorry.
from the lien holder?
The lien holder?
Check with the
Yeah.
lien holder?
Well, the lien holder on record at the time, we did provide notice, but if it was indeed sold, there's a different lien holder now, and so we would have to notify, there may be a new lien holder, so we would have to.
See if the present one was paid off.
Well, Mayor and Council, we just learned of it around 4:30 this afternoon, so we really didn't have an opportunity to contact the lien holder today. But we will be following up, doing a title search in addition to contacting the previous lien holder to see if they've been paid off and to try to go into Bexar County deed records to see if there's been a deed filed for that house. If he sold it on the 19th, the deed should have been filed already and recorded. So we'll have that information. But we want to move forward today because, we're talking about, in this hearing, we're talking about demolishing a property, and an owner can say anything, call us and say anything. And he's sold it back in January 19th, so he knew about this public hearing. He was notified. He could have notified us sooner. So we're just wanting to move forward at this point.
But I guess what I wanted to make sure is even if we vote to go ahead with demolishing the property, if it's a new owner, we still have to go back through this again?
Yes, ma'am.
So.
But we don't know that for sure.
Don't know that for sure. So this is just covering both scenarios.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Yes, Councilor Martinez.
So if this is the case, that there's possibly a new owner, would there be any problem just deferring this till the next city council meeting? That'll give the city time to determine whether there is a new owner or not, and then we can move forward?
Yes, Chief Joe.
Since Nina is relatively new here and haven't dealt with him, I want to answer that question for you. He's told us many a times things that have come to not be true. And repeatedly he's told us it's been sold, he had a buyer, he had somebody coming to demolish it. We've been told repeatedly, and it's always a stall tactic with this gentleman. So I would not want you to stop it. Obviously, if we find a new owner's there, we're going to stop it and we'll report it back to you. But from my dealings with him over this last year, and the reason it's taken us this long is because of these types of stall tactics from this gentleman. So I would recommend, for me, to continue on and give us that opportunity to go ahead and stop it if there's no new owner that's on the record.
Also, Mayor and Council, I believe the statute requires, puts time constraints on us, so many days to do this and so many days to do that. So I'm not sure if we'd still be in compliance, Nina, if we postponed it or tabled it. I don't know if today is
Well, the public hearing was noticed, and so my recommendation would be to hold the public hearing. Now, certainly, if council wanted to defer the decision to the next meeting, they could do so, but I would say at least you would want to hold the public hearing today.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Jordan.
If this is approved and we move forward, what's the estimated time of, estimated time of destruction, or demolish this home?
Yes, sir. Well, upon approval of the order, the applicant, and this is according to state code, has 30 days to comply with that order. If the owner does not comply with that owner, then the city can demolish and place a lien on the property.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, so if you'll, I know we had a lot of questions before the presentation, but I think that was helpful. So if you'll please continue. And Ms. Pasley, you've already read the ordinance. Okay. Just keep it all straight. Thank you.
So again, just a recap about our substandard building ordinance. Council did approve that ordinance on December 15th, and it essentially enacts regulations for substandard, unsecured, or dangerous structures. And today is a public hearing to determine whether the property located at 6643 Grist Mill constitutes a nuisance in need of abatement. A fire had burned the single-family home in June of 2016. This map shows the location of the subject property, and this is an aerial of the property, and you can see that here the fire damage to the structure in the back. It's pretty apparent through the aerial, and then also you can see the swimming pool in the back, which has stagnant water, and that's an issue as well. The next couple of slides just take you through the condition of the home. And I just wanted to say we do have staff on hand that went out and inspected, including our building official, Bruce Beeler. So if you do have questions, he's here to address those. This is the front of the home. You can see the home has been secured with respect to the openings with plywood, but you can also see that in looking at the front, the damage that has been sustained to the roof. You did see that in the aerial image. Again, these are some images related to the public frontage. Again, you can see the damage here, damage to the side. There is a fence on the property. Some additional photographs of the damage. I'm just going to flip through these. This is one of the statements made by Bruce Beeler, that it's uninhabitable and a danger to the neighborhood, and the pool is a health hazard and a danger as well. Upon our last inspection in January, we went out to the site, and although there was a lock, you can tell that the gate had not been secured. So anyone can just walk in there right now. So we did issue a series of violations. A formal notice was issued by the deputy fire marshal, and of course, this was in response to the fire. We also had a notice by our health inspector noting that the property is a public nuisance and primarily, related to the swimming pool. We had a notice issued by Bruce Beeler, our building official, again stating the violation in relation to the 2015 International Building Code. And then on October 13th, a certified letter was mailed that provided notice that if the home is not demolished in 10 days or no later than October 23rd, the city will initiate action to have the unsafe structure removed, and additionally ordered securing of the pool area by installing a fence 5 feet high around the pool to prevent entry. Of course, the home was not demolished, and as a result, our code officials began issuing citations on a weekly basis beginning November the 15th, and the owner was cited. So on November 15th, Mr. Maya had requested a 30-day extension to find a buyer to continue the project, and the request was not granted, and that's when we engaged in the enforcement actions. On November the 20th, Mr. Maya provided a signed demolition contract for the property. However, the contract did not state a time frame for the demolition, nor has a demolition permit application been submitted to the city. The owner has been cited on multiple occasions for public health and safety violations that can result in fines not to exceed $2,000 per occurrence. Again, some of those photographs are from the January 3rd inspection, and others were from after the fire damage. But on the January 3rd inspection, again, we found that the windows were boarded, but there was no demolition or repair that had occurred on the site. And again, the gate was found unlocked, and the swimming pool remained unsecured. The property has been unoccupied for approximately 19 months. A substandard building is any building or structure that's dilapidated, substandard, or unfit for human habitation and hazard to public health, safety, and welfare. Building or structure is presumed to be substandard or a building or structure if it does not meet the minimum standards, and these are stated in the ordinance that we had adopted back in December. And that ordinance identifies 23 criteria that have to be met. And based on staff inspections of the property does not meet 9 of the minimum criteria as defined in Article 312 substandard buildings, so it's in violation of our code currently. And I'm just going to sort of briefly go through these, but these are the standards that this structure does not meet, so therefore we believe it to be substandard. So again, I'm not going to read every one of these, but you do have all of this information in your packet. And
I think the pictures say it all. Yeah.
Mayor and Council, I just wanted to clarify, I did say that this was about demolishing the property, but it's really not. It's about declaring this property a nuisance. And whether there's a new owner or not, it's still a nuisance under our code. And so, and also this would just give us the authority after 30 days to demolish if the owner or the new owner doesn't come into compliance and demolish it himself, or, make substantial repairs, rebuild a house. So that's correct. Am I right? No.
Well, the only issue I see is that if there is a new owner, they have a right to public hearing, and
So we
they are
have to
not
come back
present
and do it
today,
again.
and they were not
Yeah.
notified of the public hearing. So if that is the case, I would, we can quickly notify them and reschedule the public hearing. So again, as Denise stated, we are recommending the declaration of a public nuisance, and we're also recommending the order of a demolition of the building and the swimming pool. And in respect to the swimming pool, it could be demolished, or a security fence 5 feet in height that is gated and locked to enclose the pool be installed, and to drain any standing water and eliminate all unhealthy and unsafe conditions, including cleaning and grading of the property. Again, we had provided notice to the owner and the mortgagee, and that notice was sent via certified mail, and we did receive their signed receipts. Also, according to our ordinance, we notify property owners within 200 feet of the subject property to allow those owners an opportunity to speak at the hearing. And so this just shows you the timeline. So if an order were to be issued, the municipality requires the owner, lien holder, or mortgagee within 30 days to secure the building or repair, remove, or demolish the building unless the owner or lien holder establishes at the hearing that the work cannot be reasonably performed within 30 days. And that burden would be on the owner or the lien holder. Also, with our ordinance, the municipality may not allow more than 90 days to repair, remove, or demolish the building or to fully perform the work. So if the owner were here tonight and presented a plan, again, we would not allow more than 90 days unless there was a detailed plan and time schedule. So that is provided in the ordinance. Again, the owner would have the burden of proof to demonstrate the scope and the time needed for the work. If the owner does not take action within the allotted time, the city may vacate, repair, secure, remove, or demolish the building, or relocate the occupants of the building. Well, it's vacant right now. There are no occupants. Repairs must meet the minimum housing standards. The city may secure the building if it violates the minimum standards and is unoccupied and occupied by persons who do not have a right of possession to the building. And the city must notify the mortgagee and lien holders having an interest in the building on which the building is located. And, of course, we could file a lien to recover the cost of the building. With respect to fiscal impact, if the funds are not identified in the FY18 budget to cover costs of abatement, a budget amendment would be necessary prior to the abatement action. The ordinance allows for the city to attach a lien to the property to recover the costs associated with the abatement. And this shows our C statement in regards to this particular item. And that concludes my remarks.
Okay. Let's ask any other additional questions before we open up the public hearing. Do we have a cost for abatement yet?
No, we don't.
We don't. Okay, so we don't have.
We can work on that.
We don't have a range, but I guess I just want to be sure that whatever we do tonight with the original owner, if there is a new owner, we're going to have to do it again.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
That's
and
correct.
So the lien doesn't follow the property. We still have to, right? We have to do it again. So, in other words, let's say it's $50,000 to abate, and then we file the lien.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a new owner, then it's not going to be different,
yeah,
right?
The reason for rescheduling the public hearing would be for the notification purposes, to notify the new owner, and if there's a new mortgagee.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Yes, please add something, because I think this is the first time in my knowledge, that we've done something like this.
Yes,
Demolish.
it is.
This is brand new.
But we would file a lien on the property, so it would stay with the property.
It'll stay with, that's what I meant.
Does not stay with the property
That's
owner.
right. That's what I meant. Okay, good.
Mayor and
Yes.
Council, yes, but the lien wouldn't be filed until after we've spent the money.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
So we would have to, if there is a new owner, then we come back for another public hearing and go through all of this. And if they attend, and then they can present their case to City Council, and then you would make a decision, we would have to, if you make a decision tonight, we would amend this ordinance for the new ordinance or the new ruling that you make, the new order.
Okay.
And then if the new owner, if you decide at that second hearing, if there is one, to declare it the property a nuisance, then we have 30 days to abate. And then after that, when we abate, then we will put the lien on the property. And it
Okay.
runs with the land.
Okay, runs with the land, not with the owner. Okay, that's clear. Yes, Counselor Martinez.
One of the things that I noticed when I was reading my packet, the pool, I thought there was a requirement that there be a security fence around a pool at all times. So with that gate being broken, and well, the water's so ugly looking, but it is possible a little kid can go in there and, hey, I found a new playground, and end up in the pool. That's a danger.
That was one of your recommendations.
That is correct,
That's
yes.
a very big health hazard to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Counselor Jordan.
So we have not received any response from the lien holder?
We received, they received our notice.
Okay, but they haven't responded?
No.
All right, and when's the last time the city staff actually physically spoke with the owner besides today at 4:30?
It was back in January. I don't have that specific date, but it was in January.
January 5th or 5th?
Well, we notified them via mail in January, but
Okay.
I believe I also spoke with them at that time, or I had left a message.
And
I
today
don't
you
know.
didn't actually speak with,
Oh,
was
it was
just
an
an
email
email.
today.
Yeah, right, okay.
And the lien holder's not here, I presume nobody looks like the lien holder from
From the
Roselle
mortgage
City.
company, yeah. Nope. Okay, thank you. All right, if there's no further questions from our council, then I will open up the public hearing at approximately 4 minutes before 8 on Tuesday, February the 6th. Is there anyone in our chambers that would like to address this particular item at the public hearing this evening on the Gristmill home? Okay, 7:56. Okay, seeing no one, then we'll close the public hearing at 7:56 on February the 6th and stand in line for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant the ordinance declaring a public nuisance and issuing an order in accordance with Article 3.12, substandard building of Chapter 3, and as presented tonight.
A second.
All right, we have a motion by Counselor Martinez and a second by Counselor Jordan to declare a public nuisance as discussed for the property located at 6643 Gristmill. Yes.
I have a question.
Any further discussion? And Counselor Alcacer has further discussion.
Does that include the order of demolition and the order securing the swimming pool in the way you stated your motion, Mr. Martinez?
It's all in the packet, the way they presented it.
You included a number that I didn't see, so just wanted to make
Yes,
sure.
3.112.
Does that include
That's
everything?
in the.
It's in the caption.
In the
That
caption?
it
It's
in the
includes-
caption.
That includes, that just gives us the authority to abate. It's not an order to demolish, just the order gives the city authority to abate after 30 days. Correct, Nina?
It gives the order to abate, and that does include demolition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. With that clarification, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. All righty. Thank you very much. Moving then to agenda item 8.4, our second public hearing this evening, presentation and discussion of a first reading of an ordinance granting specific use permit 2017-281 to Crystal Covina of the San Antonio Aquarium, LLC, for the operation of an entertainment outdoor facility in a B3 commercial industrial overlay zoning district, generally located at 6320 Bandera Road, being 5.6 acres, known as CB 4429H, Lincoln Mercury Subdivision, Block 1, Lot 6, first reading as required by the Leon Valley Charter. And Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley City Council granting a specific use permit number 2017-281 to Crystal Covina of the San Antonio Aquarium, LLC, for the operation of an entertainment outdoor facility in a B3 commercial industrial overlay zoning district, generally located at 6320 Bandera Road, being 5.6 acres, known as CB 4429H, Lincoln Mercury Subdivision, Block 1, Lot 6.
Thank you. All right. Please continue. Thank you.
This is a specific use permit request from the San Antonio Aquarium, and it is a request for the use of entertainment outdoor. This concerns a parcel that's 5.6 acres located on 6320 Bandera Road. This map shows the location, the general location of the area. And the next image shows the site plan submitted by the applicant. And here you can see the outdoor uses. The aviary is in this area, the roller coaster, the carousel, stables here, and there's a splash pad here. And so those are the outdoor uses associated with the site, the outdoor entertainment. This is the building. It's about 48,000 square feet, and it's situated centrally on the parcel. Again, this parcel fronts Bandera Road and also Thistle Drive. You have a residentially zoned area, the ridge at Leon Valley, adjacent to it, and then two commercial parcels adjacent to the site. This map shows the zoning and land uses. So to the north you have Performance HQ, which is an automotive business, and this is a developed site zoned B3. You have the developed R6 Garden House District, the ridge at Leon Valley here. It's a residential development, and there's also a variable drainage easement that runs between this development and the site. To the south, you have developed B3, which is Tri-Color Auto Sales and Thistle Drive, and then, of course, Bandera Road. This is an aerial view of the site. I apologize, the image is not very good. But again, you can sort of see the outdoor uses here, the roller coaster, the carousel. At the time of this aerial, the pony corral was located here at the corner of the property. It has since been relocated to inside the building here. And then the splash pad is again located in this area here. You can see sort of the artificial turf and the parking area. So a little bit about the history of the site. In 2010, it was included in the sustainability overlay. In 2012, that was amended to the commercial industrial overlay. This was the former Fiesta Dodge dealership, and it was zoned B3 at the time and redeveloped by the San Antonio Aquarium. There was a certificate of occupancy issued in 2015. That was issued in error by the City of Leon Valley, and it was subsequently revoked. And in 2017, there was a letter from Leon Valley to cease operation of the outdoor entertainment. At that time, they were advised to apply for the SUP. There had been some notices of violation related to some public health concerns, and that dealt with the museum or the interior of the aquarium, and those have been addressed. And the next couple of slides provide sections of the master plan that are pertinent to this particular site, and so I'm just going to go through these quickly, but if you do have a question, feel free to stop me. The land use designation for this parcel is commercial. Again, the properties to the north and south are designated commercial land use as well, and the properties to the west are designated garden house. In the section pertaining to South Bandera Road, on page 18, it states that the goal of this plan is to encourage retail use along a portion of the corridor, and so I wanted to point that out. There is a section of the master plan that pertains to the ridge at Leon Valley, and in this, again, what it suggests is that any B3 in the area may be considered for B2 retail zoning. So again, that sort of indicates wanting, maybe a diversification of the commercial and wanting retail along the corridor. There are also some objectives related to neighborhood compatibility. You can see protect the residential neighborhoods from encroachment of commercial or high-density residential and seek to locate supporting neighborhood land uses on the periphery. And then, again, there's some objectives related to the site design and calling to site design techniques such as screening buffers, building orientation employed to mitigate any kind of negative intrusions on the neighborhood, and again, land development in commercial areas, enhancing the stability and strengthening the city's economic base while minimizing the adverse effects on adjacent non-commercial. So again, the concern related to the adjacency to residential. So staff does have some comments related to the SUP. Again, this is an SUP that would authorize outdoor entertainment. The current outdoor uses are the roller coaster, merry-go-round, aviary, splash pad, pony rides, and corral. And in order to be considered an indoor use, it would have to be wholly enclosed with roof and walls. I did want to comment about the pony corral. It was located at the rear lot line. This was removed the week of January 15th, 2017, prior to the Zoning Commission meeting. So I did want to clarify that has been removed, and that the stables have been relocated to the back of the main building. And again, one concern that staff had is that the proposed use could present nuisances, including noise, associated with the outdoor rides, the roller coasters, the splash pad, aviary, pony rides, concern related to light trespass, and possibly the operating hours until 8 p.m. The proposed outdoor uses, such as live animal exhibits and the splash pad, might present public health and safety issues related to sanitation, disease, and as I said, we had some concerns related to the indoor activities and had requested corrective action, which has been done. The staff does have comments related to the site plan. When the site plan is submitted, we do review the site plan based on the city code and provide those comments. But essentially, when you're adopting the SUP, if you were to approve it, you're not adopting that site plan. What the site plan does is it provides general guidance in terms of how they are envisioning the arrangement of the uses, and it shows you, sort of the general ingress, egress to the site, all of those main issues. So it is a tool for evaluation. Now, certainly when they come in for their certificate of occupancy and of course their building permit application, the site plan would need to comply with city codes at that time. So just wanted to make that clear. So again, I had listed some of the deficiencies in the site plan. Of course, if the council were to approve, then time would certainly be given to the applicant to correct those deficiencies prior to a building permit being issued. So these are some of the things related to the landscaping, the perimeter landscaping, canopy trees, and the landscape islands within the parking area. Again, ensuring that there's a lighting plan where there's no trespass right now on the site. They do have some lights in their parking area, and it looks like they're the 90-degree cutoff. So, more than likely they're going to comply with that, but we would just need to see that, when they come in to submit their building permit. And then we had some comments from the fire marshal related to the fire lane and the turning radius, particularly in that corner that's adjacent to the roller coaster. That was of main concern. And then ensuring that fire, you could do a 360 fire lane around the property. So that's something that would need to be addressed, prior to issuance of a building permit should council approve. So again, those are some of the items that we commented on. The traffic impact analysis worksheet indicated under 100 trips, so they are not required to do a traffic impact study. And this is just a series of some of the images of the site, so I'll flip through these. We have the splash pad in front of the building. This was the pony corral at the back of the property that has been removed. That's been removed. And so this is the location here of where they're stabling the ponies now. The merry-go-round has a fence around it. This is the roller coaster. You can see the aviary in the background. And you have the roller coaster with the building in the back. This is the platform that they use to embark on the roller coaster ride. Again, this is the next couple of images just show the fire lane issue that would need to be worked on to get resolved. Again, this is sort of that area of concern right here. This is the roller coaster. And this is the fire lane behind the aviary. And then this is an image of the back parking lot. Again, you have there is a screening fence. Our code requires an 8-foot screening fence. So, and this one's, leaning. I'm not unsure about the condition, but that's something that we would want to address. And sort of another image of the fence. You can see that there is some vegetation behind the fence, and then you have the residences here. There is this drainage easement here, and again, it's about a 30-foot variable drainage easement. An image of the aviary here. The notification process, the letters, we had 23 letters that were mailed. None in favor, none received opposed, and 2 were returned. Staff recommends denial. The SUP to allow the entertainment outdoor use is not consistent with the master plan. The proposed use represents an increase in the intensity of the commercial use, which is not a goal of the master plan. The goal of the master plan is to encourage B2 retail development along Bandera Corridor. The proposed use represents an increase in intensity of the commercial use, which is not a goal of the master plan. the use and intensity of the SUP request is not compatible with the current garden house uses adjacent to the site, and the nature of the activity could be a nuisance to the adjacent residential area, specifically noise, light trespass, and public sanitation issue. On January the 23rd, the Zoning Commission recommended denial and have the findings here, and Chairman Burnside is present. If you have any questions regarding the zoning report.
Does he want to present the zoning commission findings, or that's usually what we've done, but it's up to you.
Well, you can go ahead. I think I'm Hal Burnside, Chairman of the Zoning Commission. This was the presentation that staff made to us, essentially, and with the findings. The discussion was that I think certainly on my part, that we thought this is a good business, for Leon Valley. We would like to see this, if this specific use permit is granted, to come into compliance with the requirements of the zoning. Okay, and then come back to the zoning commission if that's appropriate. The vote was there were 7 commissioners there. There were 6 for recommended approval of the denial. Okay, and then there was 1 opposed.
Okay, thank you.
And so the findings that the Zoning Commission made was that it was not consistent with the City of Leon Valley's comprehensive master plan, that there are concerns about nuisance issues for the residents in the properties nearby, and there are outstanding compliance issues related to the fire marshal. On January 25th, we received a letter from the applicant providing a letter stating that the aquarium will comply with city codes if the SUP is granted, and that was included in your packet. Should the City Council consider approval, staff has some additional recommendations. I don't know if you want me to go through in detail all of these recommendations. You've probably had an opportunity to review those. But
if you'll go ahead, just for the benefit of the council and for our
okay.
citizens here this evening.
So one condition we were recommending was that the roller coaster merry-go-round splash pad and any live animals, including the aviary, cayman, pony rides, and stabling, shall be set back a minimum of 25 feet from the rear property line to provide for a buffer from the Ridge of Leon Valley subdivision in accordance with the zoning code. That is a setback for the commercial, but we wanted to ensure that if there were, the live exhibits, that would also comply with the setback requirement of the code.
Excuse me, can I ask, what is it currently? Is there no setback now?
It is 25.
25.
It's 25 because it's adjacent to residential.
Okay.
But as I said, they did have a pony corral there within the setback, and so we just want to make sure that
you're just kind of reiterating that.
We're reiterating
okay,
that.
Very good.
We had some recommendations related to splash pad conditions. You'll find this criteria among, many cities where they actually do have design standards for splash pads now because they're so popular. And so some of the recommendations for conditions is that the surfaces shall slope to a drain. Perimeter of pad shall be designed to prevent water entering from the surrounding areas. Because of the slope of the property, you do have water coming in from the parking lot area, and that would be a concern, So that is a recommendation. If water is allowed to be retained for a short period of time, the depth of the retained water base shall not exceed 15 centimeters. Surfaces shall be readily cleaned and sanitized. Backflow preventers shall be provided on water supply lines. Where electricity is used, ensure ground fault circuit interrupters, ensure that they're functional. For non-recirculating systems, the splash pad surface shall be drained and disinfected between daily uses. If recirculation is provided, the splash pad shall be maintained with adequate filtration and disinfectant 24 hours per day unless the water is drained. Persons under 18 years of age using the splash pad shall be supervised by parents, guardians, or an adult 18 years of age or older. A sign that the water is not intended for drinking shall be posted at the site. If splash pad becomes contaminated due to fouling, the splash pad and any equipment used shall be cleaned and disinfected in accordance with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's fecal incident response recommendation for pool staff, and that's posted on the CDC's website. With respect to the live animal exhibits, the conditions that we're recommending is that they all have underground drainage. All exhibits with live animals shall be washed down daily with fecal and food materials, manually removed or washed into an on-site drain. The strainer baskets must be placed in the drain to catch the large particles, which shall be emptied into the garbage container. Waste shall be removed weekly to an off-site composting site. Waste storage areas shall be enclosed and kept free of flies and rodents. Any drainage from animal exhibits shall be diverted away from drainage easements and waterway. Again, that's critical because of the drainage sited behind the property. Waste storage areas shall be placed at a distance of 50 feet from all property lines or other outdoor entertainment activities. Dumpsters must be positioned at the stable for temporary stall waste storage. Dumpsters shall be sized so that the contents are emptied at least weekly, and the dumpster storage site must be screened from view with vegetation and fencing. And again, as we've stated, we want compliance with the codes, including the 8-foot vision-proof fence, parking and landscaping requirements, and then, of course, they would need to come in and get a building permit.
Okay, very good. Can I just have some clarification on the alternative actions that you just went through?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the aquarium not doing any of those, or are they doing some of those? I just want to. I just want to know what they what they're
the setback they comply with
doing,
currently, since they've removed the pony corral. Okay, the splash pad. I believe that. I don't know. I cannot.
That would just be
yeah,
maybe for the second reading we could
and that's something you could certainly ask the applicant.
Is Mr. Todd, Mr. Morgan, can you address this? I'm just because I was thinking. I mean, they've had the splash pad in use, right? And we haven't had any. I haven't seen anything that shut it down because it wasn't clean or disinfected. So that's what's coming in my mind.
So are you asking, Mayor, Council, are you asking specifically about the splash pad or compliance in general?
Well, I guess both.
Compliance in general is non-existent. They're given orders to comply. They continue to revert back to previous behavior since they've opened. They were actually ordered to remove across the back of the building. They had bamboo from ground level all the way to the top of the building. They were ordered to remove it. They removed it. We passed their inspection, came back. They had put it back up. They do that on multiple things. They had been ordered to hand washing stations replaced. You actually have photos in the documentation where they've removed them off the wall. So from our perspective, we've seen very little attempt to comply with our orders.
Okay. All right. So maybe we could get a little bit more specific on this list because we do have an opportunity for another hearing. So I'd like to delineate.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions? One other thing. Have we gotten any complaints of noise, smell? I haven't seen any. Usually I'll get somebody calling me if they, especially that, especially if it's a noise issue. So I haven't seen any of that. And
After the animal smell,
you have,
because you're within roughly 100 to 150 feet of the back of the ridge there.
Okay.
And they don't clean out the stalls for the animals, so you can smell it anytime the wind blows. That southwesterly wind, you can smell it in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So.
All right. And yes,
Ms.
go ahead.
Covino here?
Yes.
Yes, the applicant is here.
Oh, good. Okay, come on up. Yes, come on up. We'd love to hear from you. Good evening and welcome.
I know Ms. Covino can address the splash pad too,
Sure.
because I think it's inoperable right now, and so
Okay.
there's work being done related to the pump system, so she can.
I have a question first, though. When I was looking back at the SUP request itself, it appears it only says it's for the aviary.
No, it's for outdoor entertainment.
But that wasn't specific. I mean, if it's an SUP, isn't that supposed to be specific? And
That is the category as it's described in our use matrix. So all of
Page
those
4.
uses that were listed would fall under the outdoor entertainment, the entertainment/outdoor use.
Okay, so they don't have to be in the application, because even in her letter, she just writes the aviary and the.
Yeah, that is correct. She only noted 2 items, I believe, the
Yes.
aviary and the ponies.
Yes.
Is that it? Yeah, in the letter. But in reality, there were other outdoor entertainment
Right, so my
structures on the site. And so what this would allow for is all of those to remain, should council approve that.
Even though they're not specifically delineated.
That is correct. That would fall under outdoor entertainment.
You
All
can
of those
put
would fall under outdoor
anything in it?
entertainment.
You can put anything in? Is that?
If you wanted to list specific conditions that have only certain uses, you could do that if council were to approve.
I guess I'd like to ask her, since she only mentioned those 2 in the letter, what is the intent?
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. So to answer your question, there's been much discussion with the city on the coaster on the merry-go-round. The splash pad kind of wasn't brought into the discussion until recently, and then the outdoor aviary. And I sort of went in my priorities of concern. So my biggest priority is the outdoor aviary itself. And so that's what I addressed in the design statement. That's what I mostly addressed in the letter. The coaster and the carousel, when the city came to us and wanted this SUP, we were willing to remove them, sell them, get rid of them, get them out of there. Then when we found out that that would not fix the issue, that we still would need an SUP for the outdoor aviary itself and for the splash pad, we decided to kind of hold off and see what happens here. And so that's where we're at. But I guess my focus, if I inadvertently left that out of the letter, that's because my focus is the aviary, and the rest of them I'm completely willing to lose. I'm also completely willing to bring them into compliance, which I'll go over when.
Okay, so if we can resolve it with the aviary and the splash pad, which are kind of already there permanently, we might be able to resolve the overall issue?
Yes, ma'am. I'm willing to take the specific use permit however I can get it, basically. As I said, the bulk of our investment and the bulk of the landscaping and things that we've added, which I'll discuss in a minute, are in that outdoor aviary, and that's, my main concern and my priority in the 4 items. That's my priority.
Okay, because you add that you have 20, even though the aviary is like 7,500 square feet, that you have 22,000 square feet of, was that just a misnumber? Or?
No, ma'am. The landscaping, I counted the entire property where we added landscaping. So those are the planter beds along the I believe south, I don't know my directions very well, but along the one side of the building where the coaster is, the strip of grass along the front, along Bandera, the palm trees that we've planted both in the back and the front, and the bamboo that we've planted along that same side on the actual property line on the fence. So the 22,000 square feet of landscaping included all of it, just to kind of give the total landscaping for their percentage requirements.
Okay, and you're sure of that figure?
Yes, ma'am, we measured.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to address that you've heard, or you want to wait? I mean, this is your opportunity to go ahead and speak, and then we can ask you questions.
I wasn't
and
sure
then,
if she was done.
Yes, I believe you're done, Ms. Mendez.
All
Yes.
right. So first of all, I just wanted to express my appreciation to the city of Leon Valley. We've loved being here. We started developing that lot in 2014, and it's been great. It's been a great place to be. I have 7, soon to be 8 children that I bring up here regularly. We patronize many businesses in the city of Leon Valley frequently. The restaurants, the hotels. We live in Austin currently, so it's only a 90-minute drive, and we come here frequently. So we're happy to be here. As I go over, I just kind of want to answer like line by line some of the things. If you could go to slide number 9. sorry. To address the statement that the outdoor entertainment use does not fit in with the master plan of the city, there was some information and some wording in the master plan that was there when we were at the zoning meeting 2 weeks ago tonight that's not there now. And so I just wrote it out from that PowerPoint. And what it says, it's from page 71 of the master plan. It says the goal of this plan is to encourage B2 retail development along this corridor. Then it says the existing B3 properties may be maintained as such as long as it is in conformity with the zoning ordinance. So I wanted to point that out because I'm a little unclear if no matter what I do, we're kind of hoping to go to B2. We do have a gift shop, and we also bring shoppers to your B2 businesses, I believe. So we have roughly should have written that number down. We have roughly 400,000 visitors through our doors every year at the aquarium, and it's a great, fun family place. I don't know how many of you have been there, but you know, we definitely bring people from outside the city in to patronize the businesses that are here. Just to give you some numbers, as was suggested by, I can't remember if it was Felicia or Nina, and by the way, they've been fantastic working with me, helping me do this. This is new to me. Just for a little background, I have been an owner of the San Antonio Aquarium since March of 2014. However, I took over as the CEO in October of 2016. So I wanted to express that as we go along. That's my history. That's when I got super involved with the business. I've always been there, helped design it, but that's when I became involved in the day-to-day operations. So just to give some numbers on the tax, the sales tax revenue that we've had over the last several years. In 2014, our sales tax paid to the city was $17,398.15. I'll drop the cents. In 2015, $332,880. 2016, $286,631. And thus far, we pay monthly in 2017. No, I'm sorry. In 2017, $285,312. And then obviously, I don't quite have the numbers for 2018 yet. But we opened up in December of 2014, actually. I think on there it says we opened in 2015. And then from there, I'm just going to kind of go line by line. Public health issues that have been mentioned. As far as anything that's been mentioned or that's been brought up since October of 2016, I have ensured that my staff has taken care of quickly. I'm anxious and desire to work with the city on anything and to be in complete compliance at all times. That's my goal. That's you know, my desire. I don't desire to be out of compliance ever. So I'll get back to that in a second. I've got that on the last page, but we have never had any complaints to us brought to our attention by neighboring businesses, by the residences that are there, on lighting issues, noise issues, smell issues, or otherwise. You know, I will just skip to that really quick. We, again, have never been made aware of any issues. We clean out the pony stalls twice a day, just like our indoor exhibits. They are thoroughly cleaned twice a day. So I go out there. I'm actually very sensitive to smell when I'm not pregnant. Right now I'm pregnant. I'm extremely sensitive to smell. And that's the first thing I do when I get on site is I walk all around the building, and if it smells like fish or if it smells like whatever the smell is undesirable, I want it taken care of. So I wanted to point that out. As far as the hand washing stations, again, I think a lot of that was before I took over. We did find, and I have my chief husbandry officer here, but we did find that the hand sanitizer was damaging our exhibits and harming our animals, making our fish sick. So what we did, under my direction, is remove those and replace them with wipey, hand sanitizer wipies, because it just doesn't leave as much residue on the hands. So my goal is to protect, obviously, public safety 100%, but also the health of my animals. So that kind of is my response to that. As you said, we've added landscaping, 22,000 square feet to the property. We're perfectly willing to add more. We're constantly trying to improve the look of that building. When we took over, the building, I believe, had been abandoned for 8 years, I believe is the time. And boy, I bet you guys were close to doing what you just did and declaring it a public nuisance. There were raccoons in there and mountains of raccoon feces. It was bad. So we feel that we've done a lot, obviously, to improve the building, and we constantly want to make it better. We operate on budgets just like the city does, right? And when we have beautification plans and things in place to constantly make our facilities better. I wanted to note that the pony corral that was at the back of the property was not removed until January 15th, but we stopped using it in October of 2017, and we built those stables up toward the front of the property. We did leave the little circular, I don't know what you want to call it, temporary stable thing down there as we were trying to sell it, and we were hoping whoever bought it would come and take it down for us. That didn't sell, so when we were talking about this and I saw it on the presentation, I said, oh, we are not using that. We need to take it down. So we took it down that day. But we hadn't been using it for 4 months prior to that. As far as the site plan issues, we realize that there's lots of things on the site plan. And when I actually went before the Zoning Commission 2 weeks ago, I said, I'm willing to comply with all of the city ordinances. The one that had me concerned was the islands that have to be added to the parking lot, and I was really freaked out about the cost of that. But we've since evaluated it and decided that, you know what, it will make our facility look way better, and we're completely willing to comply with that. I got some prices. It wasn't as expensive as I thought it would be. So we are willing to comply, as the letter stated, with everything. The privacy fence, I think you saw in the pictures, all that foliage. We're probably going to have to trim some of that foliage back that's in that, what did you call that place where the foliage is? No, in the
Drainage.
The drainage easement or whatever it's called. So we'll have to trim some of that, but I think that foliage does a great job of blocking a lot of that, and I'm sure we won't remove all that. Just trim it up, and we can, easily put that fence up. So we're just ready to work with you, and I just want to get this behind us and get the thing beautified and continue to be here and flourish. And as I said, I'm not married to the idea of the coaster or the carousel. We just decided to wait until this all got ironed out, because if we have to get an outdoor entertainment SUP anyway, why not leave them there until we figure it out? We ceased operation with those, however, in August. So those have been locked off, the gates have been closed, they're emergency exits only, and those rides have not functioned. The splash pad, again, we want to come into complete compliance. It does comply with most of that list. And to answer your question, Mayor, I just made little notes as we were going before you asked that. So the splash pad, we will meet the things. Most of it is already there. We don't have a sign up. And again, we ceased operation of the splash pad in August of 2017. But we have filters, and we have chlorine, and we have the different things that are required there. I know that it slopes to a drain. Should we evaluate that and find out that we have to rip out the concrete and re-pour it, I'll lose the splash pad or whatever. It is a great, I believe somebody at the Zoning Commission called it an amenity. It's just something great. It's little, well, you saw the pictures. It's a flower and something else that spouts water. The kids have a great time out there. We don't charge for that. It's just an extra thing. We've got some picnic tables. People can come and enjoy that and leave. Like, we don't even require entrance into our facility to partake in using that. So we kind of wanted it to be like a park. Not a park, but just an amenity. My kids love it. So I would hate to lose it, but it is what it is. So again, we meet most of those requirements, I believe, except for the signage. And as far as the grade and slope of it, that's something that I'm going to have to check with experts on and establish. The live animal exhibits, can you go to those? I'm sorry I didn't note the slide numbers, but it's under the staff comments. And the first one said setback conditions.
Oh, the 25 feet.
Sorry. Perfect. Back a few more. I skipped that one. Setback conditions. We do meet the setback conditions. I believe Nina had mentioned that when you asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
The dumpsters are down there, as you saw in the picture. It was asked at the zoning commission meeting if those dumpsters were in the fire lane. They are not. The fire lane kind of goes around the dumpsters. Reading those requirements, no problem. We have that L-shaped lot, and I believe we can move the dumpsters onto the L part of it that's not used, so that it's 50 feet away from everything. Because I was just trying to imagine if we move it 50 feet toward the building, then it's by the outdoor entertainment area. But I believe we have a place. But losing the word, but the garbage people put those there, and we can move them wherever we need to, I assume. I don't know how hard they are to move, but we'll figure it out. But the exhibits themselves, the animal exhibits, the coaster, all that stuff meets those setback requirements already. If you go to, yep, there we go, the live animal exhibits. So the outdoor animal exhibits do have underground drainage. Mm-hmm. They are washed down daily with the fecal and food materials manually removed. There's drains, there's baskets in those drains to catch those things, and those get emptied daily. Waste shall be removed weekly. That's done. I don't know about a composting site, but that's something we're obviously willing to comply with. And we work hard to keep our waste storage areas clean. It's an outdoor area, right? We don't want flies and rodents near our waste area because we have animals and things that we like people to enjoy. Okay, can you go to the next one? The drainage from the animal exhibits, again, we have the drains. We are also having in our plans to install additional drains out there outside of the aviary so that it's like a secondary catch, a double safety, if you will. The waste storage areas I already addressed. The dumpsters I already addressed. Oh, dumpsters at the stable. So I found that to be slightly, we'll have to get some clarity on that just because it said it couldn't be within 50 feet of an outdoor entertainment area. Again, willing to comply. However, whatever you guys tell me to do, as far as that goes, we'll do it. And we'll have to build a screen with view with vegetation, which I'd be happy to do because dumpsters are not attractive.
So I was wondering if you could get together with the city staff this week, so before the next hearing, you have a whole agreement and this whole thing can be worked out. Is that possible?
It's possible for me.
Yes, Mayor.
What's
and
probably not
Council.
possible is the site plan to be completely completed.
But the agreement to.
But the agreement,
Well, and I'd like,
We've already given them, we've already put out conditions, and if we need to go back over those conditions or add more or delete, that's up to Nina and her group. But certainly.
I'd like to see specific agreement that this, not just saying we'll do it, but that this is what we'll do and maybe have a deadline.
When do you make, by the next council
because
date?
Ms. Covina's,
Before it, and a deadline for each item.
Since we're in litigation, it would probably be either, I don't know if we already have a Rule 11 with you guys. Do we have a Rule 11 with them? Okay, so we could probably do a Rule 11 agreement because we're in litigation and set out those perimeters. And then when we come back here, we'll go ahead and present that to you and you can make a decision.
Because Ms. Covina is saying she has complied with some of it, so, we can check that off. Or if she hasn't, then what she needs to do in order to get into compliance and the date. I think
I'll talk to outside
that's
counsel
a good point
about,
to have a
okay.
deadline.
Sure.
Just so that
Absolutely.
we can get this thing
And my
wrapped up.
understanding with that was just that the SUP could be granted with the stipulations and even dates to where they had to be met, or it would be revoked, right?
One of the things that
Even better, excuse me, Mayor, with the Rule 11, which means you're having an agreement that would be signed by the court, so you'd both be bound by it, and then you're both protected.
Absolutely.
And I think the emphasis on health and safety is it's the most important thing for us because that's what is our guidance as a city. And so one of the issues that just glared out at me was the fire lane. I want to be sure that we can get our fire trucks in there and turn it around because we would not want to have a tragedy that we could not get in there. So
okay, perfect.
That's
So
important.
it was my understanding when that fire lane was painted that were you consulted and helped on that a little bit, or did they just paint it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was my understanding that the fire marshal was consulted during that, but I drove that corner of concern myself and said, oh yeah, we've seen semis get fit through there, but I see why it's a concern. And we're willing to do whatever, including remove the roller coaster, move it back, whatever we have to do. I agree. That corner is an area of concern. Absolutely.
Okay, definitely. And I just had one other question. There seemed to be an entrance. Of course, there's two entrances off of Bandera Road, but is there another entrance exit behind the tricolor onto Thistle?
Yes, ma'am.
That is another entrance.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I just
so
wanted to
so a fire
clarify
truck,
that.
if they came in off of that first entrance, the entrance closest to City Hall, they could go around the back of the building and go out that.
Sure.
However, it is required that they can go all the way around the building, so we've got to do something there. I believe it's a foot or two. I'm not sure how many feet,
Very
but
good. So
absolutely.
that's something I think is paramount that we add to
Yes,
that
ma'am.
Rule 11. Yes, Councilor Martinez.
I was on council when this first came about, and I remember one of the conditions was, and I've noticed it's never been happened, is the gate on Thistle was supposed to have been locked.
And we have locked that at some time period. I personally was unaware of that condition, and I was unsure if, for fire reasons or whatever, that if we were able to lock it.
I'm not sure.
So should the city want me to lock it, I'll lock it. It's not used by the public, I don't believe,
Okay.
at all.
My second question is to the city attorney. Please describe what Article 11.
No, Rule
or
11.
Rule 11
Yeah.
agreement is.
Okay.
It's just an agreement. When you're in litigation, if you make a contract or an agreement with the opposing party, it gets signed and sealed by, it gets signed by both parties and actually sealed by the court that we're both bound to whatever roles and responsibilities and obligations in that Rule 11 agreement. So we could set out the conditions for the SUP in that Rule 11 agreement, or for whatever conditions that are still unaddressed.
Okay, thank you, and I'm sure the audience that didn't know what that is appreciates the answer.
Including me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Including you.
Yes. Let me see if there's any other questions from our counselors. If not, I will go to City Manager Kinsler. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. The city attorney just asked what my thoughts were on the Rule 11 agreement, and I'm absolutely in favor of the Rule 11 agreement. But you talked about something that was paramount to you, and that's the fire lane, and I agree 100%. But something that also is paramount that I don't even know, because you're so new, that you're aware of. You just made mention that you remove the hand sanitizers and put in the wipey things instead. So what I think you need to know is that we got a visit from the CDC and the Department of Epidemiology, and you all have received several letters from us prior to your time, and have had several health inspections, and they required that you have the hand sanitizers. And so in order to remain open, and then when we walked back in to inspect, they were all gone. And so I just want you to know, before you say you're in favor of a Rule 11 agreement, the city has no choice but to comply with the CDC and our health inspector. And so are you going to be able to find some sort of solution? I mean, you look at SeaWorld, they have the hand sanitizers. I realize people don't stick their hands in the tanks as well.
I'm confident that we can find a solution. Whether if the wipes aren't in compliance, then perhaps we can find a non-scented. I'm confident that we can find some solution. I believe it was just that liquid Purell that leaves that smell on your hand all day is possibly the problem.
I remember in 2014 going to the Austin Aquarium, and y'all didn't have any dispensers. You had those old-timey crank
Paper
things,
towels.
which it wasn't paper
We don't
towels, it
have
was
those
those
anymore.
towels. Do
Those
y'all remember that?
rotating towels.
Yeah, and then you'd clean it, and I thought, that is so ingenious, because
We were
you're
trying not
saving
to
on
use paper
trash
towels,
and,
yeah.
you know, the whole 9 yards. So I don't know, that's a solution.
And we do have some hand washing
Super
stations,
germs
but
on
not
those?
enough.
Okay.
for
Never
them,
mind.
for the.
Okay, yeah, I would just encourage you to go right back to the letters that the city wrote you because they were straight from the CDC and the Department of
And get a copy.
Epidemiology.
Sure,
We
we
can
can get you a
definitely
copy.
get those to
We'll
you.
get you a
I was just
copy.
worried you didn't know about them.
I didn't.
Because in fact, it strictly says in the letter that if those aren't up in an X amount of time, that the health department would shut it down.
Right.
And so that makes me really nervous. So we need to get together on that.
Absolutely.
Well,
and I can do, I mean, I can work on that tomorrow.
And then also, if you're in Austin, who is the contact here in Leon
San Antonio.
Valley?
So I
so
come
that we can have
frequently.
good communication
Yes,
back and forth.
Marcus Wallace is my general manager.
Hi, Marcus. how
And
are you?
he's there
Okay.
almost every
Very
day.
good. Okay.
So he would be the main contact.
Very good. Okay. Very good. Marcus, and your last name?
Wallace.
Wallace. Okay, very good.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions from the counselors on this issue? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open up the public hearing on this SUP. We'd like to hear from our citizens, and it's approximately 8:50 on February the 6th, and I'll open up the public hearing on this SUP for the San Antonio Aquarium.
Wanted to add a thank you.
Yes. If any would like to address the council at this time. Okay. All right, well then we'll close the public hearing at 8:50 as well. And because this is our first reading, the council does not take action, but as you've heard, we've encouraged San Antonio Aquarium representatives and owners to meet with our staff and work together with work out of Rule 11. You know, I'd just like to add that, I just appreciate the time and the effort and the money that you've put forth in bringing to Leon Valley a family-oriented business. I've taken my granddaughter there several times, and I love the aquarium. I really do. And, and I think y'all have a heart. You give teachers free admission and foster families free admission. You're always reaching out to better people who are less fortunate, and I do thank you for that. So I'm encouraged that you want to work with us and want to work with our staff and work through the courts to resolve this, and so we welcome that. Thank you so much. All right, anything else that anybody would like to say? Yes.
Would it be possible for us to stop by and just go look at some of these open issues where we can get a firsthand?
Absolutely. We can either schedule that where it's scheduled and Marcus and Chris can show you around. Absolutely. Positively. In
Okay,
fact,
thank-
we were kind of wishing that I could transport you all there so we could just walk around and talk one at a time.
Okay, very good. Yes. No, not together. It's an open meetings violation, but one-on-one or up to two. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Covina, for being here, and Mr. Wallace, we appreciate you being here too. All right. So then moving to the next public hearing, agenda number 8.5. We have a public hearing presentation and discussion on the first reading of an ordinance granting specific use permit 2017-283 to Jen Roldan U-Haul Company of San Antonio to allow the use of an auto and boat storage for a proposed self-storage facility in a B3 commercial zoning district, and zoning case 2017-402B, rezoning the property from the Sustainability Overlay District to the Commercial Industrial Overlay District, being 3.53 acres on Grissom Road, described as Lot 103, Block 101, CB 4433, located on Grissom Road, and the first reading is required by the Leon Valley Charter. Ms. Pasley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance granting specific use permit number 2017-283 to Jen Roldan U-Haul Company of San Antonio to allow the use of auto and boat storage for proposed self-storage facility in a B3 commercial zoning district, and zoning case number 2017-402B, rezoning the property from the Sustainability Overlay District to the Commercial Industrial Overlay District, being 3.58 acres on Grissom Road, known as CB 4433, Block 101, Lot 103.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Nova, and if you'll please continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will need to update the city council because
Okay.
we've had a major development.
Oh.
There is a local manager, John Martinez, with the U-Haul company. Jen Roldan's with corporate. She's had him be the local representative, and he's come in to me today, just at 5:30 p.m., to inform me that he would like to formally withdraw the zoning case and amend the SUP application to allow for vehicle storage and warehouse, and for that to be reconsidered by the zoning commission. And he agreed to do that no longer than 90 days. But this is a major change. In some things no longer apply because he is making these changes to his proposal. But I wasn't sure at this point. He's here, he can talk about his new proposal, or if you had questions, if you would like me to go through any of the development, because I do have land information I could give you. I just wanted to ask how you would like to proceed.
Okay, but it's not the same
It
item
is-
that we spent all of our time reviewing.
Correct.
So
He
I would
is with-
say, personally, we ought to just wait until he brings back the application. Is he withdrawing this
He-
application?
He's with, because we have to be very careful because of the code, how it's written.
Okay.
He's only withdrawing the rezoning case.
Oh,
and
that's
he
right.
would-
We've got the rezoning, we've got the SUP.
Yes, so he's
That's right.
withdrawing rezoning, but he would like permission to amend the SUP and have that reconsidered by the zoning commission within 90 days, so that his new proposal can be considered and then brought to city council.
Okay, but is rezoning contingent upon the SUP?
No, the rezoning in this case was
Is
only
from-
to allow self-storage.
Okay.
Now, because he's changing to allow only vehicle storage and warehouse, that is no longer a concern.
Okay, so we don't need to rezone.
Correct.
Okay,
It's strictly SUP.
Okay,
At least
all right.
that is the proposal. If you would like to hear his statement on that proposal, he is here.
Let me open it up to the council and
Excuse
see
me.
what would y'all. Oh,
I'm sorry, I'm going to step in for Ms. Frederick. Is any of what you are going to propose now in this caption? Then we can't talk about it.
Well, then.
If I'm not mistaken, Mayor, if it's not
well,
agendized,
that was, I thought she said the SUP he wants to amend,
Correct, and take
and
back.
then the rezoning, he doesn't
Withdrawing.
need it anymore because he's going to apply under an applicable zoning
Correct.
requirement, right? So there
And
need to-
this is a new
Yeah.
development. I
So
apologize. It's
that
not
was
in
why
the
I was saying I
agenda.
thought we ought to just wait, but I wanted to be fair and hear from the council, and Mr. Martinez is here, so I don't know, where is our city?
I don't.
In the restroom.
Oh, well, she has a right to do that. Okay. So, what would you say?
I'm sorry.
Yes. No, Counselor Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, is it my understanding that they said it needs to go before the Planning and Zoning Commission first with the new?
With the new proposal, yes.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it makes sense just to wait, I would think.
And so this case would essentially be closed and a new one started.
Well, what the request is that council send the SUP back to the zoning commission for the amendment to the
But
SUP.
we don't have the amendment. I don't know what the amendment is, so how can we send it back if we don't know what we're?
Can amend it is what they mean.
Oh, okay.
In other words,
So just generally, not
the proposed
specifically?
amendment is to allow for vehicle storage and warehouse, SUP.
Okay.
Is that articulated? It's not articulated on the.
On the
our-
caption, so yeah.
Right.
I think
And
we've
again,
been
this
pretty
is a first reading.
Oh, yeah, so I see
Just
what he wants.
postpone this.
So this actually is not an action item.
No,
So
that's correct.
you could postpone to next week.
We don't even want the
Or
first
the next
reading.
meeting, and then.
Yeah, this is not even a
yeah,
justified
I
first
think-
reading.
I think there has to be some action, though, related to, sending it back to the zoning commission.
Well,
I'm
it
not
doesn't
sure.
say it, though.
I think he has a
Yeah.
right to withdraw it.
Mm-hmm. Counselor Martinez has a comment.
My big question about us not taking action and sending it back is, I understand
can't
there is
take
a rule that they cannot bring it back to the zoning commission for 6 months
That's if it's withdrawn, so we're trying not to do
Yeah,
that.
so we need to do some actions that 6-month regulation does not kick in.
Right.
Okay.
We can't take any action.
It doesn't say.
We can't take any action tonight, no.
Right. Okay, this is exactly what the city attorney has just clarified, that we really can't take this type of action because it's not properly noticed in our agenda.
Apologize, yes.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Martinez, where are you? Thank you. I just think, I'm not sure. If you withdraw it, then I understand you have to wait 6 months, so I don't know what the alternative to that is. He doesn't want to wait 6 months, obviously.
Well, we
So-
can't do it tonight.
No, can't do anything tonight.
We need to give the public notice of what
The public
what
hearing.
the public hearing is about. We need to give public notice on what you intend to do. If you want to withdraw your application and reapply, you're welcome to do so. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Can we waive the 6-month requirement? Can we?
Can't do anything, Mr. Martinez, tonight. It's not an
I know we can't do
action
anything tonight, but
Well, I believe it's in the code, and we have to comply with the code.
we can change it. We're the city, we can change it.
Okay, well,
It's not changed at the moment, so you're saying the current code?
currently,
It says that
right now,
it's 6
we have
months.
to be,
Bring it
he
up
has
if
to
you-
wait 6 months.
Right.
Currently.
Yeah. Okay. This has been a very interesting city council meeting. There's been a lot of amendments and late emails, and so anyway, but that's all right. Makes it more interesting. Yes, ma'am.
If he were to withdraw that motion now and just let it play out right now, and we were to make some first reading, just let it be read, at the time that it's read, can he at that time go back and say, okay, I want the zoning commission to take this action now and place a withdrawal after the first reading? Would it make sense?
No. But it's not, the first reading isn't what he wants.
I understand.
That's why we can't take it up, right?
All right, let me clarify, Mayor and Councilor Ely, are you asking on the second reading, can we do it? Is that what you're asking?
Or the second reading?
Well, there's only, it's today, and
We
the
have
second.
only this first reading, and then the next reading, if he wants to apply, I believe he has to comply with the 6 months, because he's already applied. Now he's withdrawn, and the rules say that he has to wait 6 months before he can reapply.
That is correct.
So we can't have this reading and then come back for another first reading.
Okay.
Because he still has to abide by the rules of application.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor.
I mean, well, in the code.
Councilor Jordan.
Did we just get this request for a change today?
Just today at 5:30.
5:30.
Okay.
Okay. Yes,
Now,
Mr. Martinez.
it's my understanding that this is the first time this 6-month rule has been imposed. It's never been imposed on any other cases until this one came up, and someone just found this new this requirement, and they're imposing it for the first time on this case here.
What?
Yes, you sure may. I don't, my knowledge, we've imposed it before.
Yes, we
Yes.
have. It's been imposed, not very often over the
Very
years,
often, but
because
yeah.
typically an applicant knows what they want and they go forward with their cases, but there have been several that have been withdrawn.
Right.
I don't have the information in front of me. I would have to go research the cases and bring that back to you, but that has been my experience. That regulation has been in the code since the 80s.
Yeah. If you had if you could bring some cases back, just to, I'd like Mr. Martinez to have the evidence that this is not the first time, that we've done it in the past.
Certainly.
Yes, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Just
Yes.
so I understand, what is the purpose of the 6-month delay? Does anyone know?
It prevents applicants from coming back month after month with the same zoning request and having the council deny it over and over and over again. It just gives everybody a breathing space and allows it to rest, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, you would have, say you had someone who wanted to rezone a property from R1 single family to R3 multifamily, and they've got this plot of land. If they get turned down by the zoning commission and then turned down ultimately by the city council, without that rule, they could come back the very next month and apply for that again.
Mayor, Council, Nina, am I correct in that in San Antonio it's 12 months? That's what I thought. I read that.
City of San Antonio, it is 12 months.
12 months. Right, right.
Sure. Come on up, Mr. Rubio. And I know you're the owner of the property.
Hi, Mayor.
Yes.
Good to see you, Council.
Good to see you too, Mr.
members.
Rubio.
We are not asking to rezone it. So I could understand waiting 6 months if you're coming back again to ask to rezone it. We are not. In fact, they're going to use it for a zone that is allowed by right. Okay, so they're just going to use it for something that's allowed by right.
By right.
In that zone.
Mm-hmm.
And once they figure out what they're going to build, they'll need a specific use permit for the building because it's next to a residential area. So the specific use permit that they applied for was for boats. They're going to withdraw the boats. They're going to withdraw the zoning. So this is a brand new SUP for a subject that was not covered
in the
a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I didn't get involved until after their meeting. I didn't participate. I didn't know what was going on. And I knew that what they wanted to do, the core of what they wanted to do, was allowed by right. So after I explained to Mr. Martinez that they kind of went to the left when they just had to go straight down the road, they got sidetracked. So that specific use permit that they applied for boats, they're removing. The zoning, they're removing. So they don't even have a building yet to present for SUP, but it's allowed by right. And so they just want to know that what is on your website for commercial, B3 commercial, which is on page 4 of your website, and it says allowed by right, automotive vehicle storage allowed by right, as long as you have the vehicles operational with current stickers and license. That's all they're going to do.
The problem is they don't even own the property, Mr. Rubio.
I know.
And I find that very difficult for someone who doesn't own the property to come in and apply for an SUP or anything. I think the owner should have been you, or you should have sold the property.
I didn't know that they were going to do this, and I think somehow they miscommunicated, and so here we are. I didn't know they were going through this process. So here we are. They came up to me. I told them, you've got it approved by right. You can't do boats. You can't do storage. You can do cars and vehicles, and that's approved for the zone. And so they just want to get a hint that they're going to be able to work with the city so that they can move on and purchase the property in March.
Okay.
And
So-
the two areas that they care to start a business on is allowed by right on the zoning. So I'm telling them they won't have a problem with what's allowed
Okay.
by right.
Might as well.
So we don't need to do anything.
They don't need to do anything.
Okay. You know what? The city attorney has just made a recommendation that let's just go ahead and open up the public hearing on this, and we'll hear it out and
Good
go
idea.
forward. So it's about 10 minutes after, I know we haven't actually had anything presented, but 10 minutes after, no, it's about 8 minutes after 9. And do you want Ms. Novan to, she didn't,
She can make the presentation.
let's have her make the presentation, and then we'll talk it out and see at the end of the presentation what alternatives we have.
Okay,
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
I apologize for the
Well,
confusion.
I think it just kind of threw everybody a curve, so.
Yes.
At least it threw me a curve.
But,
But that's
ju-
that's the recommendation of the city attorney, so I'm going to take her recommendation that we go ahead with the, okay. Oh, but you know what?
How are we going,
Yeah.
It's not the
Well,
right
see, we'd
thing
already
to do.
determined it wasn't the right one.
Right.
And
I
so
don't think
that's,
I mean, I don't know how relevant it would be for her to make a presentation at this point.
There's,
well,
there's
that's,
some history.
there's some history.
Land zoning.
Well, I think
Well,
since,
how are we
Up to you, Mayor.
okay, let's go ahead and do it since we've already promised the public. Let's just go ahead and we'll try to synopsize it as best we can and stick with the agenda item. I think that's what we need to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, as applied, it was a zoning,
Do I need
rezoning
to,
case in
excuse me just a second, I have not, yes, I did read it. And did you read the ordinance? I think we did. No, because that's right, it wasn't going to be, that's right, it was withdrawn. That's right. Okay, hang on just a second. We didn't read it either because it wasn't the right, it didn't match up.
Can we go into executive session?
Yes, I would like that.
Okay,
For a few minutes?
okay, all right. All right, we can do that 10 minutes after. We're going to go into executive session, get legal advice from our attorney, and then we'll come back out. And so we're still on hold on 8-5. Okay. Everybody can stretch their legs. Okay. You sure you don't want peanut butter crackers? Oh, I'm positive. I'll go home and eat some soup or something. Oh.
Traffic jam.
I stayed home all day today and went through this packet, page by page by page. I was bored. So I took care of my little grandbaby over the weekend. Oh my God. It's quiet.
When you reconvene, close the public hearing.
Okay. Okay. We're back from executive session at approximately 9:19, and I am needing to close that public hearing because it wasn't a correct action on our part. But what I'd like to say is that based on our discussion in executive session, we need to pull this item from the agenda because at the request of the applicant, he wants to amend his SUP at a later date. And so there's no action, but that's just exactly what we're going to be doing, and we'll work with you on that. Okay, very good. You bet. Thank you. And appreciate everyone's patience. This is, like we said, a learning experience, and that was a good move on our part because we could figure it all out. Thank you. Then moving then to agenda number 8.6, presentation and discussion on the first reading of an ordinance of a request to continue the closure of Evers Road through the remainder of the construction of the Evers Road multi-culvert crossing project. And again, this is our first reading as required by the city charter. Ms. Postole, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley City Council authorizing continued closures of Evers Road during the majority of the construction of the Evers Road multi-culvert crossing project.
Okay, Ms. Moritz, thank you. If you'll begin, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the purpose is to consider approval of an ordinance to allow our contractor, J3 Company, to leave the Evers Road closed through most of the remainder of the construction of the Evers Road crossing project. The demolition of the low water crossing on Evers Road at Hebner Creek began on January the 10th. The contractor has a deadline of August 30th to complete the demolition and construct the new multi-culvert crossing. After speaking with them, we hold weekly construction meetings at the site. And receiving a copy of their proposed schedule, they are asking if they can leave Evers Road closed for just about all of the remainder of the project. They state that by leaving it closed, they'll be able to complete the project by June 18th. And reduce the cost of additional barricades and the lane opening and closure moves that they have to make by about $20,000. The continued closure would also facilitate smoother travel for citizens and less congestion for the surrounding area. If we open that street up to two-lane traffic, we're going to be severely limiting access to Evers Road by those people that live in Sun Valley, in part of Forest Oaks, in Grass Valley, and in Canterfield, because at rush hour times, that traffic backs up already, and it's already hard to get out of the library driveways. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like for them. The contractor's proposed schedule, as I said, would have the project completed by June with some minor construction details left over. And basically that would be the sides of the bridge where they need to revegetate and do things like that. Now this is all, of course, the June 18th mark is weather permitting. We all have to remember that we are working in a creek.
18th, okay.
So while he expects that he could save $20,000, which would be passed on, as you know, it's an 80-20 split between the FHA, the state, and the city. There could be change orders due to unexpected conditions at the site, so that might result in the $20,000 being used towards a change order. However, it still lowers it because a change order would have increased it. So if no change orders occur, the savings would directly benefit the budget. And that's my presentation.
Okay, now, what was the original? Wasn't it 4 months, like
8
January?
months. Oh, the
okay, but
closing.
January, February, March, April, and then we were going to do one lane through August. So,
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
8 months. And so this,
It was 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months. So this is 6 months for everything.
Yes.
Okay.
And when the
I
road
think
is
it's a
open,
great idea.
it'll be open to a beautiful
Everybody.
4-lane road.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell you what, it's really, really nice walking from Forest Oaks to the park now because there's no traffic on Evers Road. I can actually get across without running. It's great. I love it. Yeah.
It's really, really irritating driving around because Evers.
Yeah, well, but Seneca is a real challenge getting to City Hall. Yes, Mr. So I think this is a great idea. Yes, Mr.
I agree with
Martinez.
Dr. Edwards, because I'm so used to coming down from I-10 down Huebner and going down Evers. I can't anymore. But anyway, so God willing, the lane Evers will be open for our great 4th of July celebration.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. That's right. Good. Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Is this a first reading, or can we
First
take
reading.
some
This is
action?
our first reading.
Should have been emergency.
Yeah, I know. If it was an emergency, we'd put it
We've
on.
got time. There's still, the next thing that's going to happen, as the city manager had said, is going to be the exciting part, because they're doing the gas mains right now. You know, hopefully we don't blow up the library or the little house with the Irish setters there. We're not going to. But then right after that is when they start building those big, huge 10-by-6 box culverts, and they're going to build them on site, and that's going to
They
be
are.
so cool to see.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'll be
it
sure to
is.
take a lot of pictures.
Okay,
Good.
that sounds great. Okay, so we'll put this on for the second reading next time. Okay, let's move then to agenda item number 8.7, presentation and discussion on the first reading of an ordinance accepting the Texas Office of the Governor grant award and adjusting and increasing the general fund budget in the amount of $23,850 for ballistic rifle armor carriers. And this is our first reading, and Ms. Pasale, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley City Council authorizing the acceptance of the Texas Office of the Governor, OOG, grant award in the amount of $23,850 to purchase ballistic rifle armor and carriers for Leon Valley police officers, authorizing a general fund budget adjustment increase in the amount of $23,850, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. So is this show and tell?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
That's what I
figured
thought.
you've seen enough presentations up there, and I'll just do
Yeah.
this one right here.
Okay, good.
Because this is more important. This is actually what I need to show you guys.
Okay.
This is a very, very good day for not only Leon Valley and the citizens of the budget, but also for the police department as well. Basically, what we have right now is this one to the right. Not everybody has them, and it's a full vest, extremely heavy, and that's
wow.
without the plates in it. And so all the officers don't have one. We have 10 of them. They were purchased a year and a half, 2 years ago. And,
goodness.
And so the guys check them out every day. Unfortunately, that vest in its current configuration it gives no more ballistic protection to the officer than does their vest that they wear underneath their uniform. It gives them some additional coverage in their arms and around the neck area, but it doesn't, in the deltoid area up here, but it doesn't do anything for them to stop, and it doesn't stop a rifle round. To stop a rifle round, they have to add a plate to it, which the plates that go with this vest are extremely heavy. What we put in with the Office of the Governor was a grant for this type of vest here. And what this is really considered a plate carrier. In that plate carrier, and she can tell you it's extremely light compared to this one, it's really, really light. Yeah. But in that, what that will do is cover their main areas. It doesn't have the back one in, but it does have the front one in. Cover their vital areas with a level 4 plate, which will stop rifle rounds. And most of your agencies and most in the military have gone with the keeping their under armor on and throwing this over the armor that they're wearing. So they can throw this on, they can have it in their vehicle, and it's theirs. We issue it to them, they keep it with them, and so we asked for 30 of them from the state. There's a big push to get these after the Dallas shooting a year and a half, 2 years ago, to give everybody the ability to have just a little bit of protection. But that covers all their vital organs. And so we got the grant. We applied for it, and we got the grant for $23,850. And we're asking today for a budget adjustment in that amount to accept the grant and go ahead and order the actual 30 sets for our officers. So I can go through the C. There's making sure that the resources and everything that we have, and doing everything we can to make sure that our budgets is kept on track, but also seeking out every opportunity so we don't spend the citizens' money. That's a big thing on the economic side. It will also make sure that our resources are used in an expeditious manner, and only dispersing that money when we absolutely have to. And we were definitely, it was on our radar to do this in the budget, and then we were able to get the grant, so we will not be asking for the city to pay for that.
So there was no matching?
No matching.
Okay. Wow.
100% just
and we're going to get 30 of them.
We're going to get 30 sets, which comes with the actual plates for front and back.
Okay.
And the plates are the state-of-the-art best that you can buy.
Will that be at least cover all of our officers, or will we still be short?
No, ma'am. We'll have all our officers covered. And also, what it didn't show today, but it also comes with their magazine pouches and their first aid kit that you can have on it. So it's modular. We can add to it. There's different things, but the ones we purchased has the magazine pouches and the first aid kit that went along with that.
Okay.
That set right there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Terrific.
Yes. Any questions? Mr. Martinez.
If we've got a grant for this, what do we need a budget adjustment for?
Just to increase.
Yeah, Mayor, Councilor Martinez, you just need to increase your revenues.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay,
Your budget
so
adjustment.
it's revenue
Just to show.
zero.
That's all it is.
Okay.
Just to show that we got it. Okay, anyone else? Okay, well, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank
I
you,
don't know
ma'am.
who wrote the grant, but send congratulations to whoever, or the
Thank you,
team
ma'am.
that did it. So thank you.
We've just submitted 2 more.
Okay, wonderful.
right, good
That's
work.
wonderful. Okay, let's move then to agenda item number 8.8, presentation and discussion on the first reading of an ordinance authorizing a budget adjustment to decrease, there we go, increase and decrease the FY 2017-2018 general fund budget in the amount of $1,840.25 to fund signage reimbursement to North Star Sports LLC located at 7007 Bandura Road. And again, this is our first reading by the City Council. Ms. Postley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
Authorizing a budget adjustment to decrease the general fund of the City of Leon Valley, Texas municipal budget for fiscal year of 2017-2018 in the amount of $1,840.25 to provide funding for signage reimbursement to North Star Sports LLC located at 7007 Bandera Road.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome, Ms. Kinsler, and if you'll begin your presentation, please.
Yes, I think this will be the shortest one of the night. Thank you, Mayor, Council. So the history of North Star Sports is their business in Leon Valley. They were opened in 2016. They had a new signage reimbursement request. Their proposal is to install vinyl graphics to existing pylon. One is a two-sided sign along Bandera Road, and I'll show you the area in a little bit. And the other one is to install a one-sided sign to the front or the top portion of the building. The cost of the signage was $36,850. They requested half of the amount, so the total request was $1,840.25. Last week, or the week before, the project was vetted through the Economic Development and Community Development Advisory Group, and we have one of the members in the audience here, Mr. Profit, and they recommended funding this project. So those are what your signs would look like. The current location here. So the North Star Sports starts here, and then if you go, so it starts really right here, and it goes all the way to the end, so it's pretty lengthy. And there's no signage, as you can see right now. So I believe there would be a sign right here and right here.
Bandera Road.
That's right behind the Church's Chicken. And if you go to the next slide, there's the plaza sign, and then they would have that two-sided sign, I don't know, in one of these two. I just don't know which one. And so that's where the North Star sign would go. The signage reimbursement request is from the multi-property project. This applicant has not received an LVEDC grant, or did not receive an LVEDC grant in the past. Tenants who applied had written permission of the property owner. The requests were made under the LVEDC facade and signage program grant application. However, I explained to the applicants that that program no longer exists and that their request would come before the Community Development and Economic Development Committee and then would come to the council. So the recommendation is based on resolution number 17016R. The committee should vet the projects proposed by the staff prior to the project being placed on council agenda, and that's what we did. This newly created committee from last year has the sole discretion to recommend any project, both economic or community development, to the city council. They did vet it, and they did recommend approval.
Okay.
And with that, I would
Very
stand for
good.
questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Kinsler on this particular agenda item? Okay, very good. Thank you. Really appreciate our first reading, and we'll have that at the next one. Agenda item number 8.9, presentation and discussion on a first reading of an ordinance authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $17,500 for the purchase of a mowing tractor. This is our first reading as requested by the Leon Valley Charter. And Ms. Postley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley City Council authorizing a budget adjustment to decrease the stormwater fund for fiscal year 2017-2018 in the amount of $17,500 to provide additional funding for mowing tractor and shredder with accessories.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Moritz, if you'll continue, please. Thank you.
Thank you. This is to request approval of an ordinance authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $17,500 to purchase a new mowing tractor and shredder. This equipment will be used to mow all creeks, drains, some right-of-ways, and some parks, too. Our current tractor is a 2003 Case with a 75 horsepower engine. It was purchased in 2010. The PTO staff continues to malfunction on it, even though we've repaired it multiple times, and parts are becoming almost impossible to find. The shredder was purchased in 1997, and it cannot be repaired any further due to the number and positions of the welds and the metal fatigue that it's experiencing. The shredder doesn't have flexible wings, so it causes the operator to have to drive slightly up embankments, and it has resulted in one of our employees flipping the tractor one time. Luckily, they did not get hurt. When we're mowing those creek beds and drainage right-of-ways, they come into contact with beehives, wasp nests, other insects. The actions themselves of the shredder kick up the dirt and the dust, and the guys come in with their safety glasses on. When they take them off, they look like raccoons because they're just covered in dirt, because the mowing usually takes place during the summer months. A fully enclosed tractor would prevent the crew member from being stung by any insects and from accumulating all that dirt and debris. It'll also give them relief from the heat because the enclosed cab would be air conditioned.
Okay.
The shredder is going to be one of those flex wing or bat wing types, so both sides of the shredder would flip up so that they can actually get the embankments without having to take the tractor sideways up the hill. And it's also going to improve efficiency by reducing the mowing time. To pull this shredder and navigate the creek beds, the mechanic recommended the purchase of a tractor with a minimum of 75 horsepower engine. This replacement tractor was budgeted in this budget here, but we had placed $30,000 in there. It was anticipated that we could find a used tractor and shredder at that price. We've looked everywhere. On my trip back from Michigan with my mother, we went through Iowa, Breadbasket of America, tractor stores everywhere. So I was calling Candy at the shop and giving him phone numbers, and he was calling them to see if we could find it. They're pretty proud of their tractors in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did this exhaustive search, and we just can't. We got close, but we couldn't do it. And so here's some of the quotes that we received. The lowest priced one, which was only $4,000 over our budget, was only a 70 horsepower engine, and it's just not going to be enough to do what we need it to do. And so we're recommending the purchase of the John Deere closed cab, 75 horsepower with the shredder, and that equipment alone is $46,436. With all of our equipment, we put on the seals, we buy the filters for it, we all the accessories that those have to come with. It always costs us between $500 and $1,000, so I put $1,000 in there for that. We have the $30,000 available, and so we're at a deficit of $17,436. The money would be taken from the stormwater fund balance, and that's got, as of September 30th, the fund balance was at, I think it was $1 million. This item was presented to the Stormwater Advisory Committee, and they're in full support of the budget adjustment to purchase this tractor. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councilor Alcacer.
What about Kubota?
They're expensive.
Kubota?
In Kubota, we've had very good luck especially at this time of year. They give discounts from the rodeo. They also give you free equipment with it. No interest. They have all kinds of goodies. And we did much comparison, and not in this specific, but similar. And they even took our old tractor in trade.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And
wow.
it was totally useless to us, but they were going to fix it up. That's why we'd like you at least to check them out. You can before the second reading.
I will try to do that before the second reading, but our purchasing agent plus our mechanic really did an exhaustive search to find something that wasn't so expensive. Most of the new tractors were running between $55,000 and $65,000 for what we need. So, but I will definitely look.
Is this a new tractor? It's an upgrade from what we had. Did the 2010 not have an air conditioning?
No, and it's open
Okay,
cab.
so that's an upgrade right there. Okay. And what else was I going to say? Oh, well.
I'm glad you're considering the safety and the good for the
Oh,
employees.
I know what I was going to say. This was a good example of an ordinance that I wasn't sure should be on this city council meeting. I thought, well, maybe I should postpone it because of the late hour. But I said, nope, our citizens want mowed areas. You know, it's a real priority for our citizens, isn't it? Don't we get a lot of complaints about why hadn't this been mowed? So I said, oh, you got to have this piece of equipment. So anyway, all righty, moving on to the last agenda item. I can't believe it, 8.10. Well, not the last, second to the last. A presentation, discussion, and possible action on the Juvenile Curfew Ordinance Review and Renewal Ordinance, Emergency Ordinance. We only need one reading required. And Ms. Pasolay, before you present, would you please read the ordinance?
Yes. An ordinance repealing and replacing the City of Leon Valley's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuisances, Article 8.02, Minors, Division 2, Curfew, to revise the times during which the curfew will be in effect, providing for a penalty, providing repeal or severability, and I made it to the last one.
Did. Do you know how many times you say
I know, it's terrible.
severability? Severability?
That
That's
thing,
a
and
tongue
savings
twister.
clauses, and providing an effective date.
There you go. Now,
I don't, that word just trips me up.
I know,
I'm sorry.
I know. It's one of those legalese words. Severability.
Severability.
It's in every legal,
I'll be
it's in
saying
every
that in my
legal
sleep
document,
tonight.
it seems like. I see it all the time. Are you going to give the presentation, Chief?
No, I will.
Okay.
I'm going to beat
She
Ms.
wants to-
Kinsler's, and this is going to be their fastest item tonight.
Okay. All
The only
right.
reason this is on the agenda is every 3 years, you are required to review your ordinance.
Mhm.
There are no changes, but it did expire in December.
Okay,
So we
that's
do
what I
need,
was
we need to
thinking. We
get
had to
this
have
one
it.
in so we can continue to enforce it.
Okay, very good. So did everybody read it? And so the hours, no, you did change the hours,
No,
didn't
ma'am.
you? The hours are the same.
Everything is staying the same.
I thought they did. I thought the hours did change. Yes, they did.
I'm sorry, they
Uh-huh.
did not
Yeah.
inform me of that.
Hey,
11.
Chief, you want to take this from here?
11 instead of midnight, right?
I would like to change one more, if we could.
Okay.
The kids in middle school don't get out until 3:20, and if you let them out at 2:30, they'll take advantage of that. And you say that they only have to stay in school till 2:30, and they're actually they get out like 3:40. So it needs to go at least till 3:30, 9 a.m. to 3:30 in the daytime. So you're not giving them permission to get out early.
Okay.
I don't think we're giving them permission, but we definitely couldn't enforce it if they're out there.
She said 3:30.
Yeah.
She said 3:30 for middle schools because 2:30 is too early. That's really more like elementary school, right?
Oh, yeah, they get out at 2:40 elementary.
Okay.
And then 3:40 and then 4:05 for the high school. But I just
Anything
think
else?
that since it's in there, that's, if we can do it, I would like to request that.
You want to do the amendment to the
3:30 instead of 2:30 for the daylight hours.
make the motion? That's what I was saying. When you make the motion, just amend it.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we
Any
doing
other
this as an
questions?
emergency?
Yes,
for
and
one
so we
reading?
can go
Okay.
ahead and vote on it. All right. Any other questions on this ordinance? If not, then Ms. Alcacer, Councilor Alcacer, will make the motion, please.
I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance as presented regarding the juvenile curfew, except for adding the daylight hours, extending it to 3:30 instead of 2:30.
Second.
Okay.
No, just anyway.
That's okay, yeah. All right, we have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Jordan to renew the juvenile curfew ordinance, adding the daylight hours from 2:30 to 3:30 as the curfew. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. All right, moving then to agenda item number 9, citizens to be heard. It's 9:45. Anyone here that would like to address the council at this time? Ms. Baldridge is thinking about it. Okay, all right. Going once, going twice. All right, we will move then. There's no citizens to be heard at this hour. And if there's no objection, then, yes. Miss. Yeah, we already voted. We already voted with the amendment.
I just wanted to let you know that all the ordinances that you approved tonight will be in the next ECHO, and that's when they become enforceable. So that's always the case, but you're going to have a huge list of them in the next ECHO. And with any penalty ordinance, it's enforceable once it's published. And the three of us have been discussing this a little bit during the meeting. We will try to streamline this next month or next meeting so that you and I aren't repeating the same thing.
Yeah, that's, you and I had talked about it, but I guess we didn't get the word to you. Yeah, okay.
Oh.
That sounds good.
I guess not.
No, that's all right. No
when-
problem. I don't mind reading, but it's kind of silly for us to both, if it's basically saying the same thing, so.
I was just going to say that actually the law requires either me or her to read the caption or the ordinance.
Mhm.
So, we can talk talk about it later.
Yeah. We'll be glad to do that. Yeah, we'll talk it.
Breathe.
I can breathe,
Uh-huh.
but
So
I like to
occasion.
talk, you know, so unfortunately.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's all right. You're taking away my job after all these years, you know?
No, just
Okay.
on those.
Just on those. Okay, so with that said, thank y'all for coming. We enjoyed your presence and your participation, and if there's no objection, move to adjourn at 9:45 on April the 6th, and we'll see you at the next city council meeting. Did I say April? February the 6th, it's too late. And we'll see you at on February 20th. I better stop. Okay. Good evening. I said April. Man, I didn't.
These are all yours, Chris.
Yes. It seems like April. That's right.